disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Well, welcome everybody to another Beatboxing podcast. Broadcasting to you live from the true north. This is indeed your good friend Mr. BDA, and I'm glad everybody could be on board for this one. Fellas, we've got a lot to talk about because it was a jam-packed day of boxing last night, throughout the day. So there's a lot to talk about. So let's get down to it right off the bat, fellas. Let's get the business out of the way. You know the drill. If you wanna... Actually, first of all, you can check us out on iTunes, Spotify, and Spreaker at your leisure. Don't forget that. That's iTunes, Spreaker, and Spotify. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so with the Super Chat feature. It's always better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck, though, because you get special emojis, badges. In fact, shout out to I Am Your Leader using those special emojis that we're talking about. The people, they're being underused, fellas. They're being underused. That is unacceptable. I want to see more emojis in the chat, all right? But like I said, the most important thing is you continue to like, subscribe, spread that BDA gospel, educate the sinners that are out there, the boxing sinners. So shout out to everybody out there. Shout out to the apostles in the chat. I'm talking about I Am Your Leader, Timothy Figueroa, Neil Simpson, Mueller's 27. What am I talking about here? Steven Schneider in the house as well. Captain Ivan Drago, Sam Rando, Alfredo Contreras, Team Batman Boxing, the Quags. Shout out to the Quags. Shout out to Two Matador. Shout out to SSC in the house as well. Shout out to SSC. Fluffy Toasters 89. Just Brian, the Grim Reaper, Super Sardonic, King Bucho in the house. Main 25. Rafael Garza in there as well. He says, according to their logic, Canelo has to fight only on Showtime. Nowhere else is Canelo allowed to fight. That's right. They're telling Canelo where he can and can't fight. Amazing. Shout out to J. Colt, Stephen Tarr. Many more people to come. I'm sure, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you dropping by. My goodness gracious. So obviously we're going to start talking about the Showtime pay-per-view main event that we had last night between David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. David Benavidez beating Caleb Plant by unanimous decision. You know, a lot of people had that decision. I'm looking at the official predictions that we took down here from our callers and from the people in the chat and from the panelists. People got it somewhat right. I mean, they picked the winner correctly, but a lot of people were expecting, myself included, a stoppage later on. And that didn't happen. Now we're seeing two narratives here. Two big narratives from people. Benavidez is overhyped. He's a hype job. Or he did what he had to against Caleb Plant to beat him up. I want to get some input from the people. I want to see what's what. Because I'm a salt of the earth type of guy. I get on the bus, I get on the metro here, as we call it in Montreal, the subway. I talk to people. I go on the streets. Everybody kind of knows me. I'm a bit of I guess what you would call an authority figure in my city. And so people ask me for my input, but I say no. I want to hear from you. So enough prevaricating. Let me call a couple of people here, move a couple of contacts, and get a panel going. Hold on a second. Gonzalo, it's gonna take us to another room, all right? All right. Yeah, what the fuck? That's Gonzalo's got a new avatar. It's like a tiger or something. I don't know. It's something from Thundercats. All right. People are saying, some random says BDA run discreets. That's right, I do. Sort of. Green Reaper says, I hold the door open for the elderly. There you go. That's what you're supposed to do. Although if you do it for certain women now, they get angry at you. Like here in Montreal, you hold it for them and they, I don't want you to hold my door. It's like, all right, take it easy there. All right. I see we got Gonzalo in here. We've got the Bucciarino dropping by, the Jimmy Reno as well. Shout out to you fellas. Thank you for joining us. All right. Listen, there's a lot to get to here. I'm still trying to gather my thoughts about what happened because I want to be precise with what I'm saying. So, Gonzalo, since you were here first, you go ahead, man. What happened last night?
Hey, how's it going, BDA? How's it going, guys?
So
what happened was that was a good fight, man. It was really enjoyable. He didn't get the stoppage. It was close to. A lot of it had to do with the referee interfering. I think he might have gotten the stoppage. Not sure, but he did put a beat down. Of course, Plant was going to run away with the first 4 out of the 6 rounds. But in the end, he got beaten up. And, all these people say, well, boxing is about hitting and not getting hit. About landing a few flashy combinations and, getting on a back foot. At the end of the day, you punch with your fucking hands, man. And if you can run away, but at the end of the day, you still end up getting the shit beat out of you like he's done twice already. That doesn't make him a great boxer. Because that's the only thing you can really do is fucking box. Like, for example, what was the game plan? He wasn't really turning the punches over. He didn't want to trade with David Benavidez. Yeah, he had a few leaping left hooks in there. But he was basically fighting to survive. He wasn't in there to really win, aside from trying to con the public by doing all these hey, look at me, you missed me, and trying to impress the judges. But the crowd wasn't falling for it, and I'm hopefully people start understanding this, because a lot of times they say, well, David Benavidez squares himself up. Yeah, okay, but sometimes he's punching when he's not in position. He don't really care on the fly, and you could even say that it's easier to throw a right hand because you're not turning from afar, and it's easier to throw a jab because you don't have to gain momentum by stepping over, by stepping.
Gonzalo. So you're saying? Go ahead, finish.
What I'm basically saying is, don't worry if he crosses his feet sometimes, because 29. Out of all this fights that he just won, maybe one time he's got dropped, but at the end of the day, he's fucking punching with his hands. He's putting a beating on you. The other guy's thinking with his feet all the fucking time. And if you're thinking with your feet first, and you're too worried about the feet, hey, you're not really doing a great job with your fucking hands. So people stop fucking focusing. Whether he squares up sometimes. He got dropped. Well, he's made it work all the fucking time. He put a lot of leverage on the shots. Yes. He got a little bit more muscular when he didn't throw as many combinations, but the shots that he did land, it only took a fucking round or two for the fight to totally turn in David's favor. He lumped them up, and we've seen that pattern BDA with Caleb Plant. He lumps up real easy against Uzcategui and Canelo. But it was a pretty good fight, and eventually I'm not gonna fucking score, and I'm not gonna consider, well, he boxed good for fucking 6 rounds. When he ultimately ended up getting stopped. It don't fucking matter, dude. He got knocked out. He's not that good.
Or you know what? Gonzalo's got the pragmatic approach here. He's saying it's the means to an end. And it's about the end for Gonzalo. Let me go to Jimmy here. Jimmy, during fight week, I asked people, and I asked you guys as well, if Benavidez loses, will it be okay to say he was exposed? Now, he didn't lose, but people are using the word exposed. Was he exposed last night?
I think that's way too strong of a word. I think what a lot of people expected him to stop, him earlier. I mean, or people who are real big fans of his, names that won't be named, but those calling out him for 4 rounds, to be stopped in 4 rounds. It kind of went how I thought it would. I just thought that Benavidez would eventually figure him out, but on Gonzalo's point, that referee was horrible. He put himself in that fight way too much. He was inconsistent in what his instructions were. I said it last night, no matter how bad a ref or an umpire is, as long as he's consistent, you might not like what he's doing, but if he's consistent with it, then you know what he expects of you. So we lost complete control of that fight, and it was sloppy because of that. What I did see from Benavidez of exposure is he throws big. Even when he's not winding up, he doesn't bend at the waist and like wind up his punches, but when he misses big, and he put himself off balance. And also to Gonzalo's point, instead of like somebody like Canelo is not going to sit there and first reaction, when you miss big on Canelo Alvarez, his first instinct is to jump on your ass and make you pay for that. All right. Plant's first instinct was to do the Billy Joe, look over in the crowd, put the fucking hand above his eyes, and where did that punch go to? Like to play to the crowd. That's not, Canelo's going to make you pay for that. And Canelo doesn't have to use his feet to run around, as we saw with Triple G. He's wicked hard to hit clean, because waist up movement is as good as anybody's in boxing. He's extremely hard to hit clean. Whether you're in a phone booth, at distance, his upper body movement is insane. And if you miss big on him and get your legs crossed, he's going to fucking drill you. So I think they need to work on that. I think if he was to take that fight next, and again, this is all contingent on how Canelo looks against Ryder. Because Ryder, whatever you think of him as an opponent, he's going to come forward, and we're going to see what kind of Canelo. Did he really need just a mental break, or is he finally burnt out? His heart's just not in it. But if he did need just a break, and he's back to the form that we've seen him at his best, I don't see this. I just think Canelo would make him pay for those big mistakes, and he punches too hard to punches a lot harder. Like those combos Plant was landing on him. Do you see his face wasn't even marked up? Because the pity patters, pop, pop. Even he was in close, like he was bending down, and he would kind of crouch into the pocket. But his weight, and as he was throwing, his combos, if you look at him, his hips are going backwards, pulling away from, because he's so concerned about what was coming back at him. Canelo's not going to do that. He's going to throw everything he has and hit you with bad intentions to the body and head. And, but that's pretty much. But I would not say exposed, at all. He's the skills that I pretty much think he has. He's as tough as nails. He's a fighter who boxes, whereas Plant's an athlete who boxes. There's a big difference.
Yeah, that's a good way of. That's a good way of putting it. Bucho, I'll ask you the same thing. Yes.
Yes. Well, no, just quickly. Okay, so we most of us picked. David Benavidez to win the fight. So the question was not so much like who would win the fight, but how would David Benavidez win this fight? And we were asking these questions because we were going to evaluate David Benavidez's skills against a top opponent, because as we know, David Benavidez's record is very weak, but this was a good opponent. And now I'm hearing that Caleb Plant didn't really want to engage, right? He was there more to survive. Okay, so was David Benavidez really tested in this fight? What can we take away from this performance? Like, will Canelo fight like David Benavidez? Obviously, like Caleb Plant? Obviously not. This guy won't be scared. This guy won't be there to survive. And so, from what I saw in this fight, I think Canelo stopped David Benavidez. You might call me crazy. Ooh. I really think he's going to stand there. He's going to move his head. He actually is going to counter David Benavidez, something that obviously Plant couldn't do. I mean, he was mothering. He was trying to grab him. What the fuck was that about? Like, I was trying to wrestle. And thank God that for Caleb Plant that he's so strong, because he managed to actually stall the fight for a long time. If you count all the times he was clinching and wrestling. And so that's why he didn't get, one of the reasons why he didn't get stopped, in my opinion. But anyways, that's besides the point. Point is, yes, David Benavidez gets hit. That's his style. Fine. I want to see that style against Canelo.
You know what, though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, first of all, we got to point out the clinching. We're going to be we're going to be stepping on, we're going to be putting our knees on the back of some of these officials from last night, because the clinching was awful from Caleb Plant. I understand if you at least try to camouflage it, You know, if both guys jump in and you grab one guy with your arm, especially on the other side of the referee so that he can see that you're the one clinching. Okay. Fucking Caleb Plant was doing the old Vladimir Klitschko, which is moving, feinting, and then lunging in for a clinch. The last guy I saw doing that contemporary right now is Devin Haney. He's the biggest clincher of them all. Caleb Plant rivaled him last night. It was awful. I can't help but wonder if Benavidez could have pulled off the win, or the stoppage win rather, had Kenny Bayless forbade those clinches. Now, of course, there's a question, like you said, about the skills. You know, Benavidez, should he have been skilled enough to avoid those clinches? Because he was just coming forward. And he wasn't even cutting off the ring in certain parts. He was following Caleb Plant around. Now, let me say something about that. Benavidez is usually a slow starter. We know that. He usually gets going by the third round. By the fourth round, he usually has guys on the ropes. He's unloading combinations, body shots, all that. This time, he didn't get started until the sixth round, or about the sixth, seventh round, which leads me to believe that it was Caleb Plant's doing that prevented Benavidez from having that success. In other words, yeah, you can be a slow starter, but by the third, like I said, third or fourth round, he gets himself going. This time, it took him a while. He couldn't pin Benavidez down. There were certain Plant down. He couldn't Plant down. There were certain parts of the fight where Benavidez was missing and falling onto the ropes, collapsing onto the ropes. That's bad equilibrium right there. And I would have liked to have heard what Jose Benavidez Sr. was telling him in between rounds, but I couldn't hear because I was watching this French broadcast and this fucking Frenchman, you know how they are, they won't stop talking. So I couldn't really hear it. But again, I didn't see much of what David Benavidez did other than what he always does, which was, well, I'll pressure. And good for him that he was able to pressure Plant by not and tire him out, not by necessarily throwing punches, because Benavidez wasn't landing much early on. It was Plant. Everybody, listen, I'm looking at the predictions here. Gonzalo Benavidez 11-round TKO. Chief Benavidez 8-round stoppage. Jimmy Benavidez late round stop. I think he made late fight stoppage. Bucho was Benavidez decision. Okay, you were the only one that sort of switched it up. And I said Benavidez championship rounds like everybody else. So we all expected that Plant was going to tire down the stretch. So that happened. That was going to happen whether Benavidez landed shots or not. So it's not like Benavidez in this one. I didn't see him, like I said, I didn't see him doing enough damage early on to wear Plant down. It was just Plant wearing down as he usually does. So again, when you bring up the skill set, Bucho, about Benavidez, he didn't really look all that great, man, when it came to that aspect early on.
What Benavidez did, I mean, he didn't change his game plan, right? Or are you saying he did?
I'm saying all he did was he just kept plugging
exactly.
along.
Yeah. So is that going to work against Canelo? Because this is all we want to talk about. Let's be honest.
I'm gonna say Canelo. Bucho, I'm gonna say Canelo displays the same type of mentality, and what I'm basically saying is he kept this cool. If we're gonna pick that apart, we're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna say Benavidez. His boxing style reflected poise and calm, and he stepped it up and landed. He picked the right shots when he needed to. It's kind of the same thing Canelo does, right? So it's kind of like equal in that sense.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Gonzalo, because what Gonzalo's saying is, look, Benavidez, yeah, he looked bad early on. He's being a pragmatist. He's looking at this saying, okay, he might have looked bad, but he does what he usually does, and it worked at the end of the day. And I agree. But
against who, though? I know this sounds like,
Well, that's what I was going to say, Bucho. That's what I was going to say, because people were, again, we're talking about exposed, whether he was exposed or whether he was overhyped, blah, blah, blah. No. Let's think about this. A lot of people were saying that he can dominate one super middleweight easy. That's a given. All he has to do is fight these guys. He's going to beat them. And then he can go up at one light heavyweight and beat guys like Bivol, because apparently he gave him the business in sparring. I mean, if he fights Bivol now, Bivol's a much better fighter than Caleb Plant. He's got better footwork, better defense, better stamina. So, I mean, I think people got a little overhyped. Wouldn't you guys agree? The fact that he can go up to a light heavyweight and beat Beterbiev, beat Bivol. That type of style, I don't know.
Now we talk. Now, you're talking about Benavidez going up and beating those guys? Oh yeah, not a chance. Not a chance. Bivol would work him. He doesn't have the footwork for Bivol. His footwork was actually slow. He was. Remember the first round, the first 3 rounds when he threw, he would be way off balance and kind of all like almost goofy looking, and then he would follow Benavidez around the ring. You're not going to follow around. You've been eating straight left hands with with snap on him. Pavel's not looking to put you away with power shots, but his punches are a lot harder than fucking Caleb Plant's are. And to the degree, like, remember even against Canelo, there was a point, it looked like, I think in the 10th round, Canelo was on the verge of going, just from the combination of the shots. They weren't lights out each shot, but the accumulation was starting to really get to him.
Canelo has a good chin.
Yeah, and Canelo's got a fucking generational chin. I mean, he took that Triple G punch in the 10th round, the second, and that was as good a punch Triple G could throw. And it did get him goofy, stepped goofy to his corner, but still, he stayed on his feet. I don't think many guys would have stayed on their feet with that. So Benavidez doesn't have that one-shot power, and I just think it's not that he doesn't have the toughness to go in there and fight Canelo, all that. Listen, boxing, like every sport, it's about mistakes. At the end of the day, who makes more mistakes? You're just capitalizing on the other person's mistakes. And I see Benavidez making a lot more mistakes than Canelo. And you make mistakes when you're fed hand-picked no-hopers, because they're not gonna make your bring your mistakes to light, where Canelo will capitalize on your mistakes, even slight ones, not major ones where you're stumbling over your feet. But
he fought a little differently today, and I don't know if it's because of the weight lifting that he became just maybe a little slower and concentrating on picking the shots and throwing with more power, or it was because Caleb Plant was moving too much that he couldn't quite pin him down early. But with Canelo's not going to go anywhere, and he's not going to resort to tying up. But at the same time, Canelo got the iron chin and the good defense, right? And that tough guard to break. So, yeah, it's going to be a totally different style of fights. But Canelo actually got power, so, yeah, it's a totally different dynamic.
I will say this, though, guys. The stamina is the thing that is an advantage here for David Benavidez against Canelo, because David Benavidez has, I think in the Gavril fight, he threw almost 1,000 shots. It's a lot for a super middleweight, and he those shots sting. So, look, 2 years ago, I remember 2 years ago I said, and me and Recognize were saying the same thing. We agreed on this, that Benavidez had the wrong style for Canelo. It's a bad style matchup for Canelo. Now I'm thinking, well, maybe Canelo beats him. I mean, Benavidez will make it easy for him, but I think maybe Canelo beats him. Maybe in 2 years down the road, I would pick Benavidez with more certainty. I don't know. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, BD. I was just going to say, you're right. That's what I was going to mention. Right, dude, if Canelo wants to face him, the time is now. Because Canelo's 31, 32, he's probably slightly on the decline with all these knee, hand surgeries. He's just getting a little older. Didn't look that great against Triple G. And what's the last guy he fought? The Bivol. So, I mean, Benavidez, 26. He's a big dude. He's probably going to hit his prime, and he's going to get a little bit stronger when he's 28 or so.
Yeah, exactly. The time is now.
And if I was Canelo, I would do something that I don't normally do, because he normally kind of takes a few rounds to get to know, what's going on. And first off, you also, Benavidez, the reason why he's able to keep that conditioning, it's because he's flat-footed. He's not up on your toes. I'm telling you right now, man, go punch a punching bag. Don't move your feet. Stay flat-footed. Just sit there and throw your arms, and then jump around on your toes back and forth. That sucks so much more energy. Especially nervous movement, like the way Plant does. That's nervous energy. That drains you faster than anything. So that's one of the reasons why I think he loses that, and he has too much muscle. He's worried too much about looking what he looks like with his shirt off than he is worried about his boxing skills. My personal opinion. But yeah, so if I was Canelo, game plan, I would jump on him early. Those first 3 rounds when he's cold, makes a mistake, and fucking drill him and try to take him out early. Because you don't want to go down the pipe with that kid. You don't want to go, the longer you make it a dog fight with Benavidez, especially if he's bigger than you, the more beneficial it is to him. You want to take him out early, if possible. I'm done.
Yeah, he's going to grow. He's going to grow, right, Jamie? He's going to gain more confidence. He's going to start scowling and smirking from year to year. Yeah, if he sees that he can deal with your power, he's just going to rise up his game.
Well, the interesting thing about last night was that Caleb Plant did what he had to. He didn't run early on. He was trying to stand his ground. But again, I can't help but wonder how the fight would have gone had a competent referee being in there because the clinching from Caleb Plant, the stiff arming, putting that arm in there, and Jose Benavidez Sr. told the referee, "Hey man, okay, yeah, Benavidez, my son, he's putting his forearm on his face, but that's because the guy's clinching and stiff arming him." And Kenny Bayless goes, okay. He leaves. And then on the very next round, he warns Benavidez again for trying to get out of a clinch. I mean, look, Kenny Bayless, he's the go-to referee for clinchers. If you're a boxing promoter and you got a clincher in there, get Kenny Bayless in there. And this guy, Kenny Bayless, I'm tired of his fucking weird face. He's an ugly motherfucker. I know that has nothing to do with his skills as a referee. But hey, listen, since he's breaking the rules, I'm breaking the rules of decorum myself. He's an ugly motherfucker. I've had to watch his ass for 30-something years.
He's a worst referee. He's a worst referee since Joe Cortez, man.
And you know, when somebody is like, yeah, like you were saying, BDA, David Benavidez was using his elbow to create some separation when Caleb Plant was trying to find some safe space because he didn't really want to trade with Benavidez. So he was leading with his head. And it might not look like that harmful on the TV, I'm thinking, but if you're in the ring with the guy that's full conditioned, a fucking fighter that's like leading with your head and he's all up on you, like water and rice, dude. You're a fucking menace, dude, with that head. It can fucking cut you with a slight glance because you got all that weight pushing off your fucking feet when you're pressing on the other dude.
And he did catch him with a headbutt. That's what cut him open, was a headbutt. And if you look, the first big swelling on Caleb Plant was behind his left ear because the referee, that was another thing. Yes, that when you're clinching, there's a difference. Tying up with an opponent, if you're in the park, you guys are swinging, and say you're just in the middle of swinging and you're in an awkward position, you can reach in and grab, like to tie him up. But to be on the outside because you have nowhere else to go but to leap in and grab somebody, that is a no-no, right? I would have, the first time he did that, pull him apart. Don't do that. The second time, give him a hard warning. And then the third time, pull the point. And then he's going to stop doing it. And at the same token, he should have warned David about the rabbit shots. He was allowing him to forearm, shivering him in the side of the face, punch him in the back of the head over and over. And I don't blame him. David he was getting angry, but it was still not a legal blow.
Is there a review or something like the commission? Do they talk to the refs and analyze the fight and go like, you did this wrong?
No, they don't do any of that. They don't do it. And Butcher, by the way, can you take this picture here? I'm sharing it with you guys. It's a cutout. So maybe you can use your Photoshop skills to put him, put a background of a gay club or something in the background. Because I think this guy enjoys watching men clinch out way too much, man. He enjoys watching shirtless, sweaty men grinding against each other. This guy, there's something suspect about this guy. And I've had it with him. I want him out of boxing. Let's get him out of business, man, because this guy is a menace to our children. That's why people talk about grooming in schools now. They're putting transvestites in there. This guy's just as bad for our kids who are watching boxing. Here's the other thing, though. Here's the other thing, though. I wanted to see the referee next time that the PBC holds a card with a clincher. I want to see that referee, the one who refereed the Maxayo versus Figueroa. Remember that he took 2 points away from Maxayo for the clinching. But here's the problem. That referee, he's got the crew cut, he's white, he looks like a cop, he talks like a cop. Did you see the crowd last night? Did you see the urban flavor in that crowd? They're not going to put a referee in there. It's a PBC card. They're not going to put a white guy who sounds like a cop as a referee. So instead they put Kenny Bayless, who allows all the clinching in the world. Look at him. Look at how fabulous he looks. Just put a wig on him and he goes to town.
Did you see another brawl in the crowd? Oh, sorry, Gonzalo.
Yeah, Jimmy, I was going to mention, that fucking call when Benavidez caught him with the good shot, I think it was towards the end of the round, that shit was a fucking egregious, man. When he separated them and fucking sent them over to the corner, I had never seen that shit for the medic to examine him. So now you land a good shot and you hurt your opponent. Hey, time out. Let me check you out. Is that what boxing is nowadays?
Yeah, what the hell was that, man?
Yeah, crazy. He fucked up, bro. I think what he forgot, I'm sure after the headbutt, what opened him up, he got cut from the headbutt. He probably went over because did you notice the doctor was right there? The doctor's normally sitting down in the crowd in the first few rows or whatever, but he was right there ready to come up on the apron. That means he already went over to the doc and said, I'm going to call you in to look at this cut. But they have to wait for the round to start. That's how it's supposed to go. Like the minute they go bing time, and time in. You do the timeout. The timekeeper's already in on it too, so he knows to ding the bell again. Time out, and then you have the doc come up on the apron and he looks at it. I think he forgot he was supposed to do that, and then all of a sudden they started to fight. He hit him once. He's like, "Oh shit, that's right. I was supposed to have the," and then he did the timeout. And again, that's just egregious mistake by him. Because the fact, again, the doctor was right there. Remember, all of a sudden, as he walked to the corner, the doctor met him on the ropes. So the doctor was already prepared at the beginning of the round to step up and look at it. But Dingbat started letting him go at it before he realized, oh, shit, that's right, I was supposed to call it. So that's why that went down. And yeah, he's losing it. That was a real stupid mistake. Real stupid.
Let's read a super chat here from the Theological Handyman. The Theological Handyman, shout out to him. He says, Benavidez finally fought a fighter on his level. I didn't expect him to look great in his first 50-50 fight. Well, shout out to the Theological Handyman. He brings up an interesting point here. A question that I'm going to ask everybody on the panel. Since Benavidez was so overhyped, or so hyped, I'm not going to say overhyped, but since he was so hyped up, it was finally his big fight, his big moment. How would you rate his performance from 1 to 10? I'm going to start with Bucho. Bucho, from 1 to 10, what grade would you give old Benavidez?
An 8.
Gonna give
he
him
dominated Caleb Plant. What else can I say? I mean, he could have stopped him. Maybe the referee would have been a different one. I'll say 8 out of 10. Not a 10 out of 10 because he gets hit a lot. But then that's his style. Okay, fine. But that's an 8 for me.
Jimmy?
7.
7?
Because he was so big. Yeah, I thought he would. He not only did he lose those first 5 rounds, he lost them big. You know what I mean? Like I thought he lost them going wide. I mean, he wasn't landing anything. I didn't like his footwork. He was looking awkward and uncomfortable in there. But again, we knew Caleb Plant fresh was gonna stick and move. But if Caleb had anything on his punches, who knows? That could have been a different kind of fight if he actually punched hard. But he doesn't try to punch hard. He did catch the fight before because he had his weight over his left, and he threw the left hook and he put Jarrell out. But other than that, he doesn't put his weight behind his punches. He doesn't get his weight over his front feet. So, yeah, I would give him a 7. I think he could have done better. Especially, he could have done more to stop him at the end.
Exactly. People in the chat, 6, 7. I mean, Joe is saying 4. I mean, I don't know.
He said 2 earlier.
What do you guys say?
I mean, Joe's fucking nuts, man. Did you see what Joe said about? I mean, I'm not even gonna repeat it, but when they showed Benavidez with his wife, and then they showed Caleb Plant with his wife, and Joe has some choice words for the ladies out there. I mean, he doesn't discriminate when it comes to abuse, whether you're a guy or girl. He'll hurl the meanest things at you.
Equality, man. Equality.
Equality, yeah. Excuse me, Gonzalo. What about you, man? 1 to 10, how would you rate Benavidez' performance last night?
I'm gonna give him a solid 8 because he did end up beating the shit out of Caleb Plant, send him to the hospital. At the same time, Caleb Plant, he's gonna make you look not silly, but he's gonna make it difficult for you the first 6 rounds because he's gonna utilize his legs. But at the same time, we know what he's trying to do. He's trying to trying to get ahead and run away with it and maybe score a decision win. He didn't want to trade with David Benavidez. And I give him credit for putting that beating, but at the same time, remember when you always used to mention, BD, when talking about Caleb Plant, how when he fought Kategi, for example, he gets hit and he's got the big skin. Like with one punch, it's fucking like all of a sudden he's not the same. Well, yeah, I give Benavidez credit, but it seemed like from one punch to the next, that's when Caleb Plant, he looked all beat up all of a sudden. So I'm saying that maybe like that doesn't happen where like if Benavidez lands that shot, he's always going to beat up his opponents like he did Caleb Plant because this guy can't take punches very well. But at the same time, guys are not going to be running like he does. So I think he did a good job. He kept his cool. I give him a solid 8.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna give him an 8.5 because even the early rounds, I was rewatching the fight today. Even the early rounds, Caleb Plant was outmaneuvering him, but he wasn't exactly slapping him around either. Benavidez has an underrated defense. He puts his gloves up, and even when Plant would plant his feet to try to get a little more power, Benavidez would catch and shoot, and he would sort of shock Benavidez Plant a little bit. You could see that Plant was a little bit like, oh shit, I gotta mind my P's and Q's in here because this guy could potentially hurt me even when he counters. But but when it comes to actually trying to do damage early on, Benavidez didn't do that either. So I can't, in good conscience, give him a higher grade. 8.5. I'm being generous. I think he did what he had to, and we'll see what happens. Again, I'm gonna give him credit too for the fact that what could have been with a different referee that had disallowed the clinching and the shaking of the ass and the stiff arming. One can only imagine. Shout out to Plutonium.
Also,
Loach,
that was
a
dirty shot, BDA. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
What was a dirty shot?
When the next round started, I think it was after he intervened and called the medic. As soon as the next round started, Caleb Plant landed a body shot. It wasn't a body shot; it was a low blow. He should have taken opponent away. Well,
listen, Kenny Bayless just was intent on doing as awful a job as possible last night. And he did it, and if that's what he was trying to accomplish, he did it. I give him a 10 out of 10 with what he tried to do when it came to being an awful, horrible referee.
Determination.
He was very determined. Yeah, he wasn't going to get stopped, man. Kenny Bayless. He wasn't going to get stopped from ruining that fight. Shout out to Plutonium Loach for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, David's girlfriend, Chichotas, 10 out of 10. Oh! Yeah, she's got some equipment up there. I don't know if those are natural or if there was some aftermarket modifications made by David Benavidez, but nevertheless, good for her. Good for her. And shout out to Dennis F. from Boston, by the way, for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, good point, Jimmy. A hard-hitting opponent may have hurt David in rounds 1 through 5. I give David a 6. Plant showed hard also. Yeah, he showed hard, Plant. I mean, he did what he had to try to make it. He wanted to go those 12 rounds, man. He didn't want to have another stoppage loss. Reminds me of the end of American Me. When he steps out of the jail cell, he goes, Diego, you got a lot of heart, carnal? He goes, sometimes you got to give it your best shot. And then they stab him to death. So, hey, listen, anyway, sometimes when you know what your destiny is, you got to face it with dignity. And that's what, well, actually, guys, I can't help but feel the clinching. What are we going to do about the clinching here? It was disgusting last night. And somebody in the Discord was trying to defend it. I didn't have time to go back and forth with him because I was watching the fight, but somebody else was going back and forth with him. Come on, what's going on here? See, there you go. That's silence against the clinching.
Yeah, I hope people understand. They kind of like, they need to start getting used to watching the way boxing is supposed to be and stop paying attention to what people are trying to convince you that it's supposed to be. In other words.
I'm sorry, but I dropped this. I couldn't hear really what you were saying when you asked the question.
Jimmy, you know this better than anyone.
What'd you ask?
You know this better.
What'd you ask?
You know this better than anybody. Silence is violence, and that's what you guys.
It is violence. Your words right now are being violent to me right now. So
I asked.
So no, what did you?
I asked, what are we going to do about the clinching? Because it was out of hand last night.
Well, you have. Honestly, if people wrote emails, believe it or not, everybody read emails. Fire them off to the fucking Nevada State Commission, and address them care of. Well, you find out whoever the president. I think they recently changed. Find out who the president of the Nevada State Commission. Get inundate them with emails. Go, what the fuck, man? And again, you have to do it at the box office too. When people start buying the fights, when the fight is start affecting the quality. But yeah, the clinching's ridiculous. There's a lot of stuff that's changed, and the clinching's one of them. And it's obvious clinching, like you said. There's clinching in the middle of when you're in close fighting because you're not in a good position, so you reach out to grab. But then that's a part of your tactic. I got nowhere to go. Let me dive in. Like he would literally dive in to grab him. That's a no-no. You know what I mean? That's just crazy.
That was disgusting. Hey, but you brought up the boxing numbers too, real quick, because I want to get into this. How much do you think this is going to do on pay-per-view wise, Jimmy?
I don't know, but I know I'm one of the assholes who bought it. So I'm ashamed to my fucking. But really, I just hate it that I bought it, but because I'm not going to ever do it again. That was my last PBC event because I'm not going to support that bullshit. No, because I'm not. Listen, because you have no money to put on. You don't want to finance the fight with a network who's no longer going to, Espinosa, I mean, Christ, he looked like a fucking cancer patient. He was so nervous about losing his job. So, I mean, you saw his pictures. He was all jaunt and skinny and all like, a fucking weasel. So, yeah, they were on him hard because he lost so much money with that boxing. So the days of them throwing money around are gone. So it's literally expecting fans to finance. And that wasn't a bad card from top to bottom. It wasn't a bad card if it was on Showtime, which you still pay for. It's a monthly subscription, but a pay-per-view, no way. No fucking way. It's just not worth it. And people got to stop buying. And when they can't even afford to put on pay-per-views because it's not covering the fighters' purses, I guess that's the only time they'll stop.
Yeah. I mean,
also, did you hear Lomachenko-Haney's a pay-per-view too now?
No. Please don't.
Yep, it's a ESPN pay-per-view.
What?
Suckers.
Based on what? Those guys can't sell. Oh man.
Yep, it's a fucking pay-per-view. I was furious when I heard that.
Where did you read that? Hold on.
They announced it last night on ESPN. Joe Tassatore.
Wow.
Yeah, we got the Lomachenko, Devin Haney pay-per-view, ESPN pay-per-view. I was like, did that motherfucker just drop the pay-per-view word? Yes, it is. Couldn't believe it. So fuck them.
That is absolutely insane. Yes, I just checked it out. Here we go. Las Vegas ESPN Plus pay-per-view. What
insane.
The hell are they doing, man? That's gonna bomb, man. That is gonna bomb. Devin the Haney
it'll do better than last night's. I guarantee it. I bet you it does over 2. Just because I think it'll do around 200,000. But still, it's just not a pay-per-view worthy fight because they're not at that level. I mean, in fan wise, it's just
exactly.
The sport is literally wakes up every morning and says, "What can we do to kick ourselves in the nuts?" Like every decision, you would say, "What can we do to make this sport even less accessible, less fucking viable sport? Make it more niche."
I'm looking at the positive side of all of this. The sooner we hit rock bottom, the better. Then we're gonna move up.
Butcher's an accelerationist. He's trying to accelerate everything so that it's
absolutely. We get the reset we need.
The reset already happened, Butcho. We're coming out of it.
Well,
we're not, man. We haven't reached the bottom.
We fucking fake like for a fucking year, man.
And I know a lot of people aren't going to like this, especially fighters. But fighters are way overpaid, way over fucking paid. And that's the problem. These guys are expecting too much money, but that's not their fault. It was bad precedent, starting with the PBC when they got that fucking big trust fund, hedge fund, and then the zone, they throw around $350 million for 11-fight deals. Like, you can't pay people. Devin Haney was being paid $3 million to fight nobodies.
Yeah, that's the thing, yeah.
Ramirez turned down the fucking Pro Grace fight because his minimum, what he felt his minimum should be, wasn't met. Like, fuck you, man. There needs to be recall. First off, when somebody turns down a fight like Fury, docked Usyk, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, there needs to be consequences. You should be pulled from the rankings. You should be, like, just period. But that's what's happened now. These guys are expecting too much money. Women in boxing, I know guys don't like women boxing, a lot of them, but women are underpaid and the men are overpaid.
Well, in my opinion, women should always be underpaid, even if they put in more work. That's just the way. We got to let them know what's what. But I will say this, though. But fighters being overpaid. Remember when Mikey Garcia got $7 million to fight Jesse Vargas? I mean, come on. So how much was he going to expect if they try to put him in there with a bigger name? So it's insane. These guys need to learn. All I'll say is this. Thank God for piracy.
Yeah, he bought a Rolls Royce Phantom BDA with that money.
Good for him.
And he didn't put like little lights like on the roof, like a moon, like stars. He custom made the roof on the inside.
What is he, a wizard? Fucking stars and moons on his fucking car? Get the fuck out of here. Shout out to
$7 million for Vargas. What a fucking ass raping. Like, their fans are expected to pay for it. And now you see why DAZN is putting everything on pay-per-view, like this Ryder Canelo fight, which should be an entertaining fight because of Ryder's style. He's going to come forward. That's all he knows, so it should be entertaining. But it's not a pay-per-view by any stretch of the imagination. Never mind, they doubled the price of the fucking subscription. It's literally, the sport is becoming so fragmentized, so niche, Yeah, it's every time you want to watch a fight, you have to spend $60.
This is what
That's
happens
just
when you
insane.
fuck a stranger in the ass.
Hey,
Yeah,
that
man.
dude looks tough, man. He's got a big head as well. He looks like a freaking what's it, like American bulldog.
Who are you talking about?
Fucking like a fucking rider. I don't know how he
Ryder,
got
yeah.
stopped by the tall, skinny dude that Canelo beat up fielding. Was it a body shot? Well, maybe that's Canelo's bread and butter. He might get knocked out to the body,
There
but
you go.
he's been pretty good lately. He's on a 7-fight winning streak. He got a good gas tank. He looks to be like a half an inch taller or an inch taller than Canelo. All right.
By the way,
I think he's a southpaw. Is he a southpaw?
I think so, yeah. John Ryder's a southpaw, yes. Shout out to Dennis F. from Boston, who says, from via the super chat, Floyd made kids think clinching is acceptable. Ugh. Yeah, exactly. That now, Plant is the classic white boy who grew up watching, he's a wigger, let's face the facts. He idolizes black culture, so he looks at a guy like Floyd Mayweather, he goes, that's what I want to do. That's how I'm going to lead my career. Jabbing, pot shotting, shaking my ass, and clinching. And Kenny Bayless is the type of the referee that allows it. Because he works hand in hand with the PBC. They tell him, allow this guy to clinch. He says, how many times? How often? Do you want me to look the other way? I'll do that. Just pay me. I mean, let me tell you something. Dennis F. from Boston, you're absolutely right. That's why I said Kenny Bayless is just as dangerous as these groomers. He's a groomer. He's a clinching groomer. All these new kids now growing up thinking, oh yeah, I can clinch my way to a decision. The way Caleb Plant did. Disgusting. If I could spit around here, I would do so. But I can't, so I'll just pretend. There you go.
And it sounds like a lot of people make too many excuses and give trophies to second place like losers. Oh, well, at the end of the day, he got knocked out, but he's still a good boxer. He did well. I mean, yeah, why don't you say he was fucking clinching all the time and fucking leading with his head and scoring low to the balls? Why don't they talk about that shit?
It's the participation trophy culture. You know what I mean?
Fucking Deontay Wilder's there all. He got nothing to be ashamed of. And even Plant saying, you know what, I'm always showing up in shape. Yeah, motherfucker, nobody cares about that shit. Fucking Fat Boy beat you.
Exactly. No. Hey, listen. Gonzalo's bringing up a good point. He's like, man, I showed up like a man, like I always. You got your ass beat, and you would have probably gotten stumped had you not clinched every 15 seconds. So let's cut the bullshit here.
And just look at the way he moves. The shit he said to that girl on Twitter, like how hypersensitive he is. You know, he's like he's pulling the Cheddar Bob. You know, I'm the poor fucking white kid. Everybody picks on me in the sport. Like he's like the only white guy who's like at a top level. He's like negating Usyk, Lomachenko, everybody else. It's no, because you're trying to look like a certain way and be in a certain culture that you don't belong in, and you're going to get ostracized for it, clearly. So whatever, dude. But yeah, he was self-pity. But just when somebody's that insecure and is, going at it, calling, like not just disagreeing with that girl Kat on Twitter, and maybe there's a speech issue sometimes, somebody might not have English their first language when they try to write in English. It might not come across the same way, but she said nothing. I don't know if you guys saw that thread where he like called her a bitch and just... Yeah, he's an insecure dude.
But
Jimmy, deep down inside, he knows he's not a fighter.
You remember we talked about this on Wednesday?
Yes. Didn't you say he called her a bitch?
No, he called her a bitch after she kept on going. And here's my theory about that. And here's my theory about that. I think the woman wanted that snow cone. She wanted to put a little swirl in that snow cone, if you know what I'm saying. So, I mean, listen, it's no, but listen, you're absolutely right, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disagreeing with you about. I'm disagreeing only about the woman's intent. But listen, Plant's a thin-skinned motherfucker. Remember, we talked about this on Wednesday too. Like, remember when he was going at it with Canelo and people were going at him on Twitter? And he goes like, "Well, I've done more in my lifetime than you were." And like, how do you know? Just because you're a boxer doesn't make you superior to everybody. In fact, I hate to break it to professional boxers, but once you're done with professional boxing, what do you do next? Like what you used to do best is now taken away from you. So stop trying to be...
75% of all world champions file bankruptcy within 5 years of retiring. 70 to 75%, I remember reading once in a Ring magazine. But that's almost across the board with American athletes because, again, it's just a whole different thing. Like I was just... Like you watch... When American fighters talk about the bag, the money, I deserve, this is prize fighting. European fighters talk about legacy and what they want to do to the fucking, their name. It's just a different kind of mindset towards it. When I hear a fighter, all he's in it for is the bag, the money, get his. All right, dude, you're not a real fighter.
You know what, Jimmy?
Real fighters will fight for free.
A lot of these guys, they act like supermodels. I don't know if you ever hung out with supermodels. I've hung out with a couple myself, but that's all they talk about: the car, the money, the fame, the glamour. That's what
they couldn't name 3 countries at gunpoint.
There you go. They can suck a mean dick, but they can't name. Yeah, you're right. They can name the 3 countries. But a lot of these fighters, that's what they are. They're supermodels. They're going. Think about it. Every time they show an all access show, whatever, there's always one youngin who goes, he's in the jewelry shop, like a woman. Oh, I like this color. Ooh, I like this bracelet. There's always one. Broner, Tank Davis. There was one Hispanic fighter. Was that you?
No, I'm sorry. I thought it was muted. No, you're right. I was saying he's so true. You're so right. What you're saying.
Like a bunch of females with the shoe. I mean, you fucking saw Killer Plant a shoe collection like Imelda Marcos. Go ahead, Gonzalo. What you were gonna say something? Sorry.
It seems kind of shallow, and I think maybe Caleb Plant still had some fire in him, thinking he was gonna get the Canelo rematch. But now that's gone, and he's lost twice. And that style, I'm going to run, survive, and try to make it to the end. And hopefully I get the decision. I don't think he's going to have the energy to put up a fight again. He's still got some, he's not that old, but I don't think he's going to have the willpower. If he did, it's gone. The style's not going to hold up too well.
Yeah, I mean, we shall see.
No, you're 100% right. But can I add about that shoe collection? The money he has spent on sneakers. Like, seriously. I mean, how about like fucking, like invest money into something tangible that will grow in money? You think that sneaker collection, once you wear them, is kind of fucking, you're going to resell them? Like, what a waste of money. And then he decorates his whole room with sneakers. Like, dude, what are you, 17? Fucking clown, you're a 30-something-year-old man.
I'm not going to besmirch people too much, but because, we don't know. Maybe he's invested. Yeah, maybe he's I don't know, but it's weird to me how a lot of these fighters, Plant included, the shoes, the fucking jewelry, it's weird.
The Impala's actually kind of nice, but not the Chucky that he's got on the back seat. He's got like a little fucking doll in the back. On the Impala.
I think Marvin Hagler, right? He kept there's one pair of sneakers he always held on to, and that was the one that had holes in them that he was wearing when he walked into the gym in Brockton in 1969.
That's a little cliche.
To remind him what poverty was. He always held on to those sneakers where they were held together with duct tape.
You know what he would probably do? I know that's what I would do. I would buy a new pair of shoes because I don't want to wear a fucking pair of stinky shoes. I'd buy a new pair of shoes, dirty them up, put some holes in them. Like, hey, listen, guys, this is like my magic pair of shoes. I'm not going to wear some fucking moldy shoes. That's disgusting.
And one thing about that, when he was a kind of a cheap dude, he didn't like to spend money. Marvin Hagler, but man, he did do alligator shoes and snakeskin. Like he had 6 shoes, so when he did dress to the nines. Well, he also lived in Italy. That helps, but anyways, he just died. You got to say it was last weekend, the 13th of this month. It's been 2 years since the fucking COVID shot killed him.
Hey, by the way, fellas, the phone lines are open in case anybody wants to call in. Phone lines are open. Don't forget to hit the like. Really helps us out. And
so what happens, BD? What happens if you step on a piece of turd on your fucking Air Force Ones? Do you clean them up and put them back on the shelf?
They don't.
Tailors. Scrub the turd out with the toothbrush, with Tank Davis' girlfriend's toothbrush.
Yeah, and then you clean the toothbrush by smearing it against the mirror. That's what they do, man. That's a technique. That's a shit scrubbing technique over in Tank's household. Yeah, like I said, the phone lines are open in case anybody wants to call in. The phone.
I guess too.
But hold on, fellas.
Yeah, okay.
Fellas, the phone number is in the left-hand middle portion of your screen. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, don't they say when you step on shit, it's like you're gonna get money or something?
Well, it's when a cat or a bird shits on you. They say that's supposed to be good luck. I don't see why that anytime shit lands on you, it's good luck. But no, speaking of Tank Davis, dude, the court case just ended. Since the court case, it's come out that he physically assaulted a fucking car lot attendant. He's being sued. There's witnesses to that. He walked up. He said, told the kid, "Yo, go fetch my ride." Just like that. And while the kid went looking for his car or was looking for the keys, whatever, another attendant showed up for work and was helping somebody. And he said, "Yo, man, what the fuck? Where's my car? I'm not stop fucking with me." And the kid turned and said, I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm dealing with it. Before he could even finish what he was saying, fucking Gervonta punched him dead in the chest. And the kid like collapsed. He wasn't probably expecting to get punched. And they had to help him into the office. So he's being sued for an assault. He's going to lose money on that, without a doubt. There's witnesses, all that. So there's that. And then an ex-NFL football player came out and somebody asked him, I forget his name, but I guess he follows boxing. "What do you think of Davis?" He says, "Well, let's be honest, man. The dude's never fought anybody, dude. Just look at the guys he's fought." And he actually broke it down. Really? And what was Davis's response? Called him a homosexual. Oh, he likes men. And when I see him, I'll slap him in the face.
You know, Recognize told me,
rip him apart.
Recognize told me a story of Shannon Briggs, former heavyweight. He was a champion for a while. Big dude, 6'4", I think, or 6'5", 30 plus pounds. Big dude. Recognize told me a little story that, and there's witnesses to this, he got beat up by a football player in a street fight. Because remember, guys, you can be a good boxer. It gives you a good an advantage sometimes. But if a guy takes you down, good luck with that landing that right hand on the ground. So if Tank Davis thinks, little Tank Davis at 5'4" thinks he's gonna beat up a football player. I mean, listen, I've seen short guys beat up bigger guys. It's not always about the size, but he's a fucking loop job as far as I'm concerned. And the fact that, listen, I got it on good authority, Jimmy. You told us those stories. I got it on good authority that Tank Davis, somebody caught Tank Davis and Al Heyman doing some weird stuff behind closed doors. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's a rumor I heard. I don't know.
And just his first reaction in all cases is to be violent. He has no self-control. Impulse control. He punches fucking parking lot attendants because they're not giving him the fucking attention he deserves. He's threatening, and he hears criticism. And what the guy said, this football player, what he said, clearly they have a past because this guy was adamant about like getting on him about it. But everything he said was 100% factual. And I heard he likes men, and I'll slap him. So it's just, like I said, and I'll reiterate it again, within 2 years of retiring, that dude catches a big case.
To be fair, though, if I'm a professional boxer and somebody criticizes me, that's the first thing I'm saying. I'm pulling out the "you suck dick" retort. Shout out to Raider Reaper for his contribution with the super chat. He says, "Caleb the Mexican punching bag, Plant MX." Oh, called Caleb a punching bag. Shout out to Raider Reaper. And shout out to Jonathan Lambarena for his contribution to the super chat as well. He says, "Canelo started at 140 and knocked out Plant. David has only campaigned at 168 and not even on knockdown. He lost 6 to 7 rounds and was punching behind the head." Shout out to Jonathan Lambarena. He also saw, like Jimmy, he saw those rabbit punches. Yeah. All right, listen. The phone lines are open, so in case people want to call in, give us their thoughts about last night's fights, because there were a lot of fights. And while we wait for people to call in, let's indeed talk about that. Let's talk about Rayo Valenzuela getting robbed against Chris Colbert. Valenzuela dropped him early in the fight, had him on the ropes for long stretches of the fight, beating him up. Then there were some parts where there were lulls and Chris Colbert got to work, but he wasn't landing that much of note. He made it slightly competitive in the middle rounds before he started getting beat up late as well. And then the judges come in and they all unanimously give him, and that's Chris Colbert, by the way, the decision. And the scorecards were real quick, because we gotta get these names out of the names of the judges. Where were they? I had them right here, man. 10-rounder. Oh yes, okay. Here we go. So judges: Glenn Feldman. Remember that name? He's giving some shit cards in the past. Lisa Giampa and Don Trella. That's Glenn Feldman, Lisa Giampa, and Don Trella. They all scored a 95-94 for Colbert.
Insane. That's absolutely insane. He even finished the fight. The kid even finished the fight in the 10th round. He finished the fight with he had Colbert like if that thing went 10 more seconds, I think he would have put him down again. And that was a clear win. I mean, they did the Twitter poll. They do on Showtime Fights, interactive Twitter polls, and 74% of the fans thought Colbert lost. So he clearly lost. Feldman, he was the one who was involved in that fucking a terrible decision too, or card. Remember, he was the one I saw a meme. Somebody asked him, they called him after the fight. He's got those thick glasses on. He's like, why did you score the fight you scored it? And in the meme it says, "Oh, don't ask me. Here, ask the man I split the money with." I don't know if you guys saw that meme. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's filming. And Don Trella, he's the one who robbed Triple G in the first fight. Give that ridiculous card. Yeah, Don Trella sucks. Feldman sucks. These people are horrible. It's old boys club. It's just who you know. Literally anybody could become a fucking judge if you just know somebody in Vegas, whatever sanctioning body or outfit you're working under.
And you know what the worst thing about that, Jimmy, is if you criticize them, you've been watching boxing for 30 plus years, you've actually boxed, you know what you're watching. If you were, I guarantee you that if you were to say that to one of these guys' faces, he would try to come back with the whole, well, I'm a professional boxing judge, blah, blah, blah. But remember that judge? I forget his name. The judge who made it very close between Joshua and Usyk in the rematch. And they went up to him, I think it was ID Sports or Talk Sports, I forget which website. They went up to him after the fight and they said, yeah, could you just break down why you scored the fight the way you did? And the guy was filler busting. He was flabbergasted. He was like, you'd have to talk to the guy. You'd have to get, was that?
That was, word salad. That was Feldman. That's the same thing I'm talking about. When he said you have to ask, and he pointed to the guy next to him, his boss, and then his boss went on that fucking minute diatribe and said nothing. Well, but it's an insulation in fucking cars, but and it's like, okay, dude, what did you just say?
What?
It's like you just threw out words, dude. Train tracks, with long hair. It's just like, dude, what are you talking about? That has nothing to do with what we just asked, because he couldn't justify the scorecard because it was ridiculous. And I think like last night they filled those cards out before the fight even began. They were on the fucking cell phones. They weren't even watching.
Remember BDA when I think I missed it. I texted Don Trella and he wanted pre-written questions when we were invited to see if people were interested in seeing some of the boxers and the judges and whatnot.
Yeah. That Gonzalo sent the guy a message saying, "Hey, you want to be on the show, the BDA show?" He goes, "Sure, just email me the questions." It's like, this ain't no fucking Washington Times interview where we're gonna email you the questions beforehand so you can edit them and say, "Yeah, take this out." Say, "No, man, you gotta be on the hot seat here." They don't want to do that. So they always pull rank and say, "Well, I'm a professional boxing judge," but then you gotta talk to the supervisor. You gotta talk. Okay? So you, the Mr. Expert, you can break it down. We gotta talk to your We gotta talk to your handler, the guy that groomed you, the guy that bent you over, and you had to spread your ass cheeks for. That's the guy we gotta talk to. Okay, makes it nice and clear right there. I'm incensed here, fellas. I am incensed, and I'm not gonna stop. But we do have to stop briefly for some phone calls. So let's go to the phone. Oh, excuse me. We got a super chat here from Don Trella. Says, "Fuck you, BDA." No, it's I'm your leader. Shout out to I'm Your Leader, says PBC chose Colbert over Rayo last night. Shake my head. Absolutely, I'm Your Leader. But I mean, are you surprised? Are you surprised that they chose Colbert? I mean, it's the PBC. It's interesting. The PBC, you see bad decisions all over the place, but when it comes to the PBC, you don't see the wrong decision go against the house fighter, aka the urban fighter. It's always against everybody else except the urban fighter.
And it's almost always against the person with the Spanish surname. Just throwing it out there.
Just throwing it out there.
Like, that Spencer kid had no chance. He got the shit beat out of him because the other two was fucking big. Hey, be careful what you wish for, man, because they said I was going to watch the fights over the radio and the power went out. So I had to bust out the bamboo stick and fucking like take it in my car and like drive way the fuck out there to get Watsako in the main event. Yeah.
Joey Spencer, my God, they matched him softer than fucking puppy shit his entire career, and it was so obvious. I mean, this kid's been on television for 4 years, fighting nobodies, and then they finally move him up, and his father saved his life.
Oh, yeah. That was a good move, though. That was a good move to pull him out of that fight. He was getting the shit kicked out of him. By the way, did you hear after the fight? He said, "I've never been hit that hard by Ramos. I think he had some egg weights on his gloves."
So he did? He wasn't the one that was saying all that stuff about Wilder?
I'm kidding.
Wilder had loaded gloves?
I'm kidding.
No, but he did say that Wilder...
that's right. Yes. I believe he was one of the guys who co-signed that bullshit about fucking Fury.
Yeah, he said Bucho found that clip. He's got it in one of those LDBC Wilder Fury Luggate thing that where Joey Spencer was saying, yeah, I fought a guy from Michigan or from the Kronk, I think, and yeah, they all use loaded gloves. Something like that, he said. He was casting aspersions on him. So wouldn't surprise me if after this beatdown, he comes back and says, hey, man, this guy, I've never been hit that hard. He must have had something in his gloves. Let's go to the phone.
He's too small, man. Yeah, okay.
No, go ahead.
He's too small for 154, and the other guys, he's pretty big. El Mono, they don't call him El Mono for nothing. I think in Spanish, that's like the ape.
Yeah.
He's got big shoulders, white back.
I think he needs to. I just wanted to say, I think he needs to recalibrate career choices. He's not a professional boxer. He's never going to be a world champion. It was just a fucking kid they matched soft. And then you got the PBC philosophy. You don't match the guys hard, and when they finally do, they get found out. Same thing happened to Colbert.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, he got dropped, and he got up and he grinned like a stupid cheesy smile he had. Like, what the fuck? What's going on? Yeah, you got hit, motherfucker. You got dropped for the first time.
He was shocked. Let me tell you. And there's no shame in not making it as a professional. I mean, he was a decent amateur from what I hear, but it's just the professional game is something else, man. Let's go to the phone calls here. Let's go to the phone lines, rather. Let's go to 470. 470, you on the air. 470, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, guys? Good fight last night. You guys pretty much made a lot of the points that I wanted to make on the fight. In terms of is Benavidez a monster HYPEJOB? I think he's the real deal. He's 26. He's active. I like his attitude. I like his mentality in the ring. Something I did want to talk about was Caleb Plant. I remember after he fought Canelo, he changed. I mean, I think the Bivol fight was on, and he made a comment after the Bivol fight that he was up. I'm talking about Plant now. Plant felt he was up on Canelo up until he was stopped. And so I think he had this mentality where he didn't like the fact that he was knocked out in the Canelo fight because he thought, well, if I lose, I can just say, it's just a difference of opinion. So it looked like in this fight with Benavidez, he came into the ring with the intention of not being knocked out by any means necessary. And it looked like I'll just come out and say it. It looked like he was coordinated with the referee because the excess, I mean, this was excessive holding. And the way that the referee stopped the fight, I think it was in the 8th or 9th round, when Benavidez was putting it on Plant, and out of nowhere, he said, time. Stopped the fight for about 10 to 15 seconds. But and then after the fight, the narrative was, I fought like a man, I'm tough, and, I showed up or whatever. But it just looked coordinated. It just looked like he went into that ring, and it looked like he trained on those kind of Andre Ward, Klitschko type spoiler tactics, where hold, and the referee didn't say not to stop or didn't penalize in one point. And the last thing I'll say is, if you allow holding in boxing, is no longer is a completely different sport, right? It's no longer a battle of who can hit the other person, who can make the better shots. Once you allow a guy to hold, to use tactics that allow you to avoid fighting, it's no longer the same thing. And if a referee is complicit in that, like we saw last night, then that makes for a different outcome. So I feel like Benavidez would have definitely knocked him out in the later rounds had the referee called a boxing match the way a boxing match is supposed to be called.
Caller, I've heard them. Everything you said was on the money, but then people come out with the old excuses. Well, it's boxing. Clinching has always been around. It's part of the sport. It's up to the other guy to do something about it. I mean, come on.
What was that?
On who asked for the ref? Which camp asked for that referee? Because usually you ask for certain refs. That's a part of contracts. Everything's actually a part of contracts. But yeah, I want to know who asked for him. I bet you it was fucking Plant.
Right. And there was another YouTuber who talked about it. I saw him this morning. He said that, I can't remember, Bayless. He said Bayless has a tendency to prefer slick boxer types. But this looked like it was beyond a preference.
Watch Mayweather versus Maidana too. Mayweather Maidana 2, Exhibit A right there. That's one of the fights where it's just, hey, clinching galore. The more clinching, the better for fucking Bayless. I think he enjoys it sexually. Well, listen, caller, very good points. But by the way, what's your nickname or name? Did you make a prediction before the fight?
No, I haven't called in for a while. I'm Chris in Atlanta.
How dare you?
But I mean, I didn't call him with a prediction, but I pretty much felt Benavidez was. I don't really. Caleb Plant to me, he's a decent boxer, but he's a guy who he's trying to be something that he's not. You know, he's trying to be that slick boxer, but he doesn't have the natural speed or agility for that, for his style, and so he's always gonna. I think he's always gonna lose to the top tier fighters. But yeah, I'm Chris in Atlanta. And
all right, I'm sorry to hear that you're in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's my take.
All right, man. Well, listen, thank you for your call, and take it easy out there, man. Call back next time.
Best city in the country, man.
All right. I was just kidding. Take it easy, man. All right. Yeah, good call. Yeah, it's true what he said. Like clinching, when you clinch. Oh, I mean, listen. Okay, I can let a little clinching go, but when it's every 15 seconds, that is like the caller said, it's no longer boxing. You're distorting it into something else, and it's an ugly, ugly thing that you turn it into, especially for paying customers. And then the goal to say after the fight, I fought like a man. No, you fought like a sissy with all that clinching. Sorry. Let's go to another phone call.
Yeah.
Oosh, yes.
No, go ahead, BD.
Let's go to the wild card line here. 111. 111, you're on the air. 111. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, BDA? Shout out to the panel. Max here from New York. I want to talk first about the Valenzuela and Colbert fight, man. I had it for Colbert, man. I see a lot of people upset about the decision, but I gave Rayo, of course, the first round. I gave him the 6th round and the 8th round. My take back to that is you can't expect a guy to have a good 30 seconds in a round and give him that round. Colbert was outboxing him for the majority of the fight, and especially in the 9th and 10th round, Rayo, in my opinion, Rayo's tank was just not there. I've always said that Rayo is a boxer who has amazing power, but doesn't have fundamental defense, man. And I just think, Chris, and shout out to Chris, man, coming up to 135 first fight, and he beat somebody like Rayo. So that was my take on that fight, man. I know the panel probably doesn't agree with that, but as far as the Benavidez and Plant, man, I had it 9-3, 9 rounds to 3 in Benavidez' favor. I kind of agree with everyone. And now listen, Kenny Bayless is a legend in the game when it comes to refereeing, but I truly believe that if it was another ref, that stop would have been done at the 10th round. It was too much punishment for Plant over clinching, and the fact that Bayless didn't even give Plant a warning throughout the whole fight was very disappointing, considering he was he gave Benavidez a warning because of the elbows. So now the big question is, do I think Benavidez can beat Canelo? I still don't think that. I think Canelo's experience and power is going to be able to beat Benavidez, but I'm looking forward to that fight, man.
Well, there you go, man. Hey, listen, in regards to the Valenzuela versus Colbert fight, I'm going to rewatch it because you never know. Listen, I've seen fights where a guy gets robbed and everybody screams robbery, and then you rewatch and you go, I might have been closer. That being said, I'm going to rewatch it. And if I still have Valenzuela wide, you don't even have to call in. I'm going to call you, and then we'll see what happens. Right, caller? But
BDA, I'm all for it. Yeah. The thing is, man, the thing with Rayo, man, and I think people can see that his game is flawed, man. I don't understand. Now, mind you, it was a good fight, but I don't understand why Rayo wasn't putting that pressure in the whole fight. Colbert was just piecing him up, a slick, good boxer, moving around, touching him, man. And I just don't understand. Like, Rayo, man, maybe he needs a new team. But I just don't know, man. I don't think it was a robbery. I do think it was a good fight, but hats off to Chris Colbert.
Caller, did you see that the Twitter poll at the end? They posted a Twitter poll. 75% of the people watching the fight who did the Twitter poll thought that Colbert lost. So it's pretty much, It's and
but
I've been reading pretty much all the. I'm just saying, I think it's beyond the panel too. And everybody has their opinion. I'm not shitting on you for your opinion. I'm just saying it's pretty much universal. Everybody called that a robbery.
Yeah, I think after the first knockdown, he got a little overconfident and he let off the gas. I think La Granada shook him. What's his name?
Absolutely.
Ángel de los Santos. De los Santos shook him, dude, because that dude hit hard, and he's not the same. That's what happens sometimes to young fighters when they face a power puncher.
Caller,
I think everyone should watch that fight again. I'm gonna watch it again. But off of and again, I agree with the brother that was just mentioning. The brother was saying Rayo took his gas off his foot off the gas. Man, that's on him, bro. That's on him. He should have. After that knockout in the first, and I will say this, I give him a little bit of props for the first 3 rounds, Rayo being a little bit more wiser and composed, but still, you can't, that 9th and that 10th round, it really came down to that. And if you want, I can even see 6-4. I could say 6 rounds to Colbert, 4 to Rayo, but that's on Rayo, man. I'm telling you. I mean, I know a lot of people, they might, for whatever, they might be pushing a narrative. I don't have a dog in the fight. I scored it myself, like watching the fight, but I am going to watch it again. You know?
Well, there you go, man. By the way, caller, people in the chat are saying that you're Seymour Colbert. That's Chris Colbert's brother. Are you indeed Seymour Colbert, or just a random boxing fan?
Nah, I mean, I'm from New York. You feel me? But that don't mean I like Rayo. When he was going back and forth with Rolly and stuff. I think, you know what? I think that I was telling people in another panel last night, I think Rayo should fight Rolly, even though I know Rolly moved up. But, I mean, Rayo's young, man. He can come back. He just needs to work on his defense. But BDA, man, I do want to ask you guys a question on the panel. Do you feel more confident about Benavidez actually beating Canelo with this fight, or less confident based on what you saw last night?
Fellas?
Well, I wasn't confident he would beat him before the fight. I'm even less confident he'd beat him now.
Okay.
If that means anything. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, man. I'm a little less confident. I think because Canelo's not going to run, but he moves that head very well. He parries shots very well. The thing that if I were to pick Benavidez, I'd go with him just because of the gas tank. But even then, at this point, he needs more seasoning. He needs a little more seasoning. But anyway, listen, caller.
Because he's Guatemalan.
Oh, come on.
60-40 Canelo for me. 60-40.
There you go. All right, well, listen, caller.
Thanks for the call, fellas.
Thank you for calling in, man. Call back next time. Take it easy out there.
Later.
Yep.
All right, let's go. Hey, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Don't forget to hit the like. It really helps us out. All right, let's go to 210. 210, you on the air. 210. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. Man, finally get on. Man, I listen to y'all show all the time, man. I really enjoy it. Jimmy's takes, your takes, the whole crew, man. I had a good time watching the fight. I don't agree with the last guy, man. I don't know. He said he's from New York, man. Come on, that's just what it is. There's no way Chris Colbert won that fight. I'm sorry, man. I mean, I was drinking while I was watching the fight too, so I'll give him a pass. But yeah, man. I mean, it's boxing, and you know, Vegas was in full effect. You saw Kenny Bayless there. And once I saw him in the ring, I'm like, all right, who's he for? Because he's there for a reason. You know what I mean? So just like those judges were there for a reason with Colbert fight. But yeah, man, I think Benavidez, I don't know, man. I don't want to say he got exposed or anything, but like Jimmy said, man, I thought he had a shot against Canelo. He didn't look as fast to me. And with Canelo, man, he's going to move his head and move his waist. He's going to make Benavidez miss. Benavidez is straight up. Canelo's going to rip that body. I don't even like Canelo, but he's got power. And, you know, Benavidez isn't going to show no respect like he did with Plant, because Plant doesn't have power. I don't think he has a shot right now. So I think he should just go for Morrell, Charlo, kind of clean up that side of the street. But yeah, man, I had a good time watching it. You know, it wasn't a big crowd. I went to the same place. I saw the Jake Paul fight at Twin Peaks. Y'all know what? Y'all have those, right?
I don't think we have those over here, but I've heard of the place. Yeah.
Did you pay for it?
Yeah. Well, I was at the. No. I'm in Texas. They don't charge in Texas. Texas is Wild West, man. They don't. I've been telling everybody, like all the popular sports venues or like sports bars everywhere, they don't charge. and they even advertise it free, no cover. I tweeted that. No cover, you know. I don't know if it's just Texas, but after the pandemic, I think they loosened regulations like that because they just want business to pick up and people to get back out there. So that's just what I think might have happened. Why they don't charge anymore, but like everywhere they don't charge anywhere here.
You know what it is? They probably make so much money back from the food and the drinks and the booze that they don't even have to pay. Because if they pay for the pay-per-view, I think they got to pay like $3,000 or something for the license to air the fight. I think they make that back. An establishment like Twin Peaks, they make that back, especially on a Saturday. In Texas, I mean, that sounds like a place right there.
No, that's my point. Because and I don't think Benavidez is ready for pay-per-view. I mean, he had one fight in 2022. And I'm just going to contrast this with the Jake Paul fight. I watched it at the same place. The Jake Paul fight, it was jam-packed. People were live. It was energetic. And I'm like, man, these guys, casuals. I know as much as we shit on the casuals, we need casuals. They're the ones who bring money to the sport. Hardcore is only 10% of the viewers. And out of hardcores, how many are cheapskates that don't ever buy tickets or pay-per-views? A lot of these guys that talk the loudest on social media, like the LDBC types, man, they're cheap asses, man. They don't spend money. They're especially if they're in the hood, man. Everything's bootleg in the hood. So that's just then. It was half-ass. It was a half-ass crowd. It wasn't really like a live event. So I'm just like, that's another thing I noticed. I always put myself in the casual sense, and I always observe when I'm watching fights, like how are they seeing it? What do they think? You know what I mean? Because that's, you know, after the loss.
Did you guys see the fight break off? Did you guys see the fight in the stands again last night? It was in the beginning of the second or third round. Or no, the beginning of the fourth round. All of a sudden, the head start turning.
Wild. That was wild.
Well,
and I had a buddy that just moved to Vegas. And, my buddy just moved to Vegas, and he when the fight was announced, I know the tickets were really high. And I told him, hey man, Benavidez didn't sell in his own hometown, and so he's probably not going to sell there. So I was like, just hold off. And sure enough, when he held off, he got cheap tickets at the last minute. And he's like, hey man, there's a lot of tickets left. I was like, yeah, dude, that's just Benavidez isn't ready for pay-per-view. He's not ready for Vegas. He's definitely not ready for Canelo. But I mean, I like the kid, man. I was hoping he would be that guy that would take the torch from Canelo, be that, you know, because they need that Mexican, you know, champion to push that fan base. But I just don't see it. But man, I'm glad I finally got on with y'all, man. I listened to y'all all week, man. I get a kick out of y'all show.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you, and thank you for the call. Thank you for enlightening us about the situation there, because I didn't know. Some people said that they couldn't even watch the Jake Paul versus what's his name, Fury fight. Somebody was, I forget where they were, what city they were. They were trying to look for a bar that would sell it. Oh, here in Montreal, actually. Excuse me. Yeah, a guy said that he was trying to look for the fight here in Montreal. Couldn't find it. There was no bar that was showing that fight. So boxing right now, they need a star, man, because these bars, sports bars, they don't want to mess with that right now. Anyway, listen, caller.
They were doing direct story hours. That's why.
There you go. Yeah, that's what they were doing. Hey, well, listen, caller. Thank you for your call. Call back next time, right, man? Take it easy out there.
All right, buddy.
Take it easy. That was a Texas call right there. Now, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go. And don't forget to hit the like I said. Hit the like. Let's go to 240. 240. You're on the air. 240. What's on your mind?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna waste your time. Like, you know, a lot of these guys that come on here. I just wanted to just mention something about how everybody wants to compare the Plant Canelo fight and Benavidez Canelo fight. Like, it's almost like people forget that Plant gives Canelo a lot of problems for the first 4-5 rounds. And pretty much Plant knew that coming into this fight, Benavidez was looking to knock him out. So my question to you is, wouldn't you think it would be a lot easier for Benavidez to find the knockout if he hadn't been screaming knockout all week?
No.
Because I feel like that puts a lot more pressure on you. And also, Caleb was clinching a lot. So, you know, he didn't clinch half as more when he fought Canelo. So I don't feel like it's a very fair comparison. I think Benavidez is going to grow from here. And if Canelo doesn't take this fight within the next year or so, he gets older too. He's not getting younger. So I don't feel like the comparison there is really straightforward.
The only thing that was growing was the cock in Kenny Bayless's pants. And yes, I'm going to continue calling him a homosexual because I don't understand how a guy can let somebody clinch as much as he allowed Plant to clinch. He said there got to be corruption or corruption of the soul, i.e. homosexuality. Now, as to your point, look.
Why is that offensive?
Was that?
Why is being homosexual offensive?
Oh, wait a minute. We got Jimmy's alter ego. His cousin from no, but listen, no, but look. To answer your question, caller, I don't think it would have changed that much because, like you said, he knew David Benavidez was gonna come in. So whether Benavidez said he was gonna come in to knock him out, or whether he said he was gonna outbox him, David Benavidez only fights one way, and against Canelo, he was clinching. Caleb Plant was clinching a little bit. He got caught with a good shot and. He got wobbled and he was never able to recuperate. But the clinching, that's what you got to stick to, though. That's the clinching. Nevertheless, yes, some people could say Benavidez should have been able to work out of it and avoided it and gone around it. But man, the referee too.
It's gonna be added experience to him. Next, he's still growing as a fighter, and I just want to let people out there know that I don't think it's a fair comparison to say, oh, he didn't get the knockout, meaning he can't fight Canelo. I don't think that's how boxing works.
Well, you know what it is, caller? It's because people were hyping Benavidez so much that he had to do as good or better than Canelo, and he didn't. He couldn't stop him. So I think that's what Canelo, people are harping on. Yeah. But listen, hey, who would you... Okay, so if they were to fight...
Anyway, I'm from Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. It was good to be on the show, guys. I'm not going to waste your time. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you for your call. Who was this again? 240? Yeah, okay. So shout out to
Washington, D.C., I believe he said.
Yeah, yes,
good call.
I'm just looking for the call here to end it. Because I'm scared not to hang up on people once they're finished with their call, because sometimes they hang up before I hit the hang up button, and I end up hanging up on the next person. So shout out to the Washington caller.
Yeah. I wonder why he's saying he's wasting our time. This just sounds kind of weird. Well, he's not. That's appreciated.
I think he's being polite, man. I hope he's being polite. You just never know that. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 419. 419, you're on the air. 419, what's on your mind?
Yeah, what's up, guys? I love the show. This is Raphael 32. Now I'm just gonna tell you a little story. Okay, now when Canelo was at the middleweight division, after the second fight was Triple G, what did he do? He didn't fight nobody in the middleweight division. He didn't fight Andrade. He didn't fight Charlo. A fight tried to be made with Charlo, but wasn't able to. He jumps up, fucking 2 weights, skips 168, and fights a broken down Kovalev, who went 11 rounds with him also, and got knocked out, and who was doing pretty good in that fight, like Plant. Okay, that's one whole middleweight division. Now look at the guys, the Euro fighters, some of the fighters he fought because they called him mandatories. All that is Eddie Reynoso. He's controlling who Canelo fights. Now we get back to Saturday's matchup, right? Plant beats. What's my man's name? Not Plant, but Benavidez. Excuse me. Benavidez beats Plant, right? Now what's supposed to happen is, after this John Ryder fight, Canelo is supposed to fight Benavidez. That's what's supposed to happen. We know he's not going to fight Bivol at 168 because the fans not having it. If he fights Bivol before Benavidez, it's going to be at 175. But he needs to fight Benavidez at 168. Benavidez, after he fights Canelo and wins, he may want to fight Morrell, but if he beats Canelo, the world is Davis. He could go up to 175, where both those fighters are dangerous. I know Benavidez 38 years old, but he is still dangerous. He's still a dangerous fighter. Well, what's the fighter's name? He put Tank Atlas fighter's name. He retired and then came back about 2 months ago. I can never pronounce his name. It starts with a G, but he retired. Alexander that guy. Gvozdyk. And how do you pronounce it again?
Wait, you talking about Alexander Gvozdyk, the guy that beat Adonis Stevenson?
Gvozdyk, yeah. Gvozdyk beat the black
Adonis
Canadian, Adonis Stevenson.
That's right.
Okay, now, what I'm trying to say, Better Beef is still a good fighter, even though he's old. He's not old in the ring, and that's what I'm trying to say. And David can move up there and fight those two. I want to see him. I'm not paying for no Canelo fights Bivol. I'm not paying for that. I want to see Benavidez versus Canelo. That's what I want to see. That's what a perfect world would be for me.
There you go. We got a caller saying he's putting his foot down. He's saying, I want to pay for this, not for that. That's what most boxing fans should do. I also agree with you about Reynoso. He's the one that calls his shots, more or less, with Canelo. Canelo does. People think that Canelo is this mastermind who's picking this fight and calculating. That's not what he does. Now, as to Benavidez-Canelo, I think that's a fight that a lot of people would want to see, myself included. But I got to tell you, caller, I don't like what I heard from Benavidez' camp during fight week. They reiterated that they're moving on from Canelo. They've given up on that fight, and they've got a 3-fight deal with the PBC. They're going to fight Morel, Andrade, and Charlo. So I guess I don't know if they're going to be willing to negotiate now, or if they're going to stick to their guns and avoid Canelo.
Al Heyman told him what he has plans for him, like he did with Spence. Here's my plans for you. And they can't get Canelo. Here's the deal. He's not going to, under that 3-fight deal, he can't go to the zone. And they don't have the money to not only get Canelo, but Canelo's not going to go there unless it's guaranteed money. And there's nobody to guarantee $30, $40 million for him. So that's why that fight won't happen on the PBC.
To the caller, right quick.
And I believe you guys. I believe you guys. I don't mean to cut you off. I believe you guys. But where did this information come from?
I don't have the link with me, but he said it in an interview, and there's an article too where Benavidez said. In fact, maybe hold on. Let me see if I can get because we got a lot of other callers too. But Gonzalo, go ahead. In the meantime,
right.
And, I'll try to put it.
Yeah, you don't have to do that though, man. I believe you guys. You guys are pretty good at, you know what I mean. But I don't see Charlo. Charlo is not the same person he was. I don't even see him as a competitive fighter anymore. That's just me. Now, if out of the fighters that he has trouble with, I think it's going to be Morel, even though he only has 8 fights. You know, I would like to see Morel really fight Plant and Boo Boo, Demetrius Andre. Fight what's his name? Benavidez.
Oh, that's, you know what, that would be that's a good schedule. And by the way, yeah, just real quick because we got to move on here.
And put it on the same card. Put it on the same card.
Morel is in the same boat that Benavidez was 2 years ago. He hasn't fought anybody. He's being overhyped too himself. Some fans are overhyping him. So these guys need to fight each other in some sort of tournament format so that at the end we get the best versus the best. But anyway, listen, caller, who was this again? Raphael, you said? Raphael
32. I'm in the chat.
All right, Raphael, thank you. We got to move on, man, but thank you for your 32. Call. All right, 32. Thank you for your call, man, and we'll catch you in the next one, all right, man?
Thank you, guys, man. Thank you very much. Peace.
Thank you. Gonzalo, before we continue on to the phone calls, you want to say something?
Yeah, just real quick. Same talking points as always is true, but he doesn't mention this. The mandatories that Canelo faced were not just mandatories; they were world champions in his when he wanted to gain all the titles to become undisputed, en route to becoming undisputed, and they were undefeated fighters, and they were Europeans, but that doesn't mean anything because they were the champions. They're the guys that were relevant. Them other guys that he's mentioning, they were not really relevant at all.
Well, I mean, listen, we can go back and forth with this whole Canelo opposition thing. That's been a big point of contention for the past 2 years about whether his resume is good, whether it's bad, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, you're making some good points there, Gonzalo. Now, let me read a super chat here real quick. Shout out to Ed Perez for his contribution to the super chat. He says, Rayo was robbed. Colbert had his hand raised, but he's still the loser. I've always said Canelo beats Benavidez, and it will happen next May. Oh, okay, so he's still sticking to Canelo, and he's saying it's going to happen 2024. We shall see indeed. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 510. 510, you on the air, 510. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, Jimmy? What's up, Gonzalo? What's up, BDA? I also want to give a special shout out to the MVP of the night, David Benavidez' wife's tits. Like, those are great. Good for him. To be honest, I think overall the night disappointed me. I mean, at least it was somewhat more of an entertaining fight. But to be honest, I think Benavidez is a hype job. Look, honestly, I hate talking about Canelo, right? I don't like hearing his fucking name. I don't like looking at the dude. I just don't like him for a lot of reasons, right? Outside of boxing, but whatever. But look, if I'm talking shit like that, and if I want the guy, if I want the MVP, the big enchilada, I'm putting people away, man. Oh, sorry, what was that?
No, keep going.
Oh,
I just heard enchiladas.
I thought you were just saying. Yeah. No, it's like the big enchilada, as a guy, the number one guy, the quote-unquote pound for pound, whatever. Like, if I'm going to want to fight that motherfucker, I'm going to put statements, man. I'm putting people away. There's no excuse for, like, Benavidez to not put this motherfucker away. Basically, towards the end of the fight, that's what exactly should have happened from the very first round. He should have just fucking swarmed him and just, like, either walked it. Because I'll give Caleb some credit. He was doing pretty good, like, at the very start, the first 1 through 5 rounds. He was pretty much like, keeping him away with the jab, and just like he had like the slight speed advantage up until he just got tired or whatever. He was fucking just using his jab, moving around. He immediately, if I was him, I would have just taken the shots and just fucking go fucking dirty combinations at the dude and just fucking break him down. Like I said, this fight took way too long in terms of like. Just like the expectations, or like, because a lot of people. That's why, honestly, I think Benavidez is a hype job. He should have just put this dude away. There's no excuse for that. He should have just like swarmed him, and for Caleb to like just be able to move like that, he just had like damn near free agency to move around. Like I just don't, And then of course, what like Jimmy pointed out beforehand, like he does cross his feet a lot. I just don't get how the fuck these guys don't fight with any urgency, man. That's the thing that does annoy me. Not only in boxing, but in MMA, these guys are like. Every single time I think a fighter's like he's not garbage, but he's not like he's obviously on the road to get better. These guys fight with no fucking urgency, dude. I don't get it. Like if it's me, I'm gonna fucking bring like for example, like I would even like try to formulate a plan against the clinching bullshit, which Caleb did. Honestly, look, me, I only have 2 things going for me when it comes to just boxing. Like I'm willing to throw. And fucking, I got short arms, so like when people try to clinch me, obviously I understand I would have to refine the technique as I go up and like, like fight better fighters. But like when people try to grab me, like I'm not waiting for the fucking ref to stop it. I'm fucking teeing off from the dude. Like I can sneak uppercuts, I can move around, like throw an overhand. Like what I did actually like about Benavidez was like how he was throwing like overhands over like Caleb when they were close, when like they were in clinching distance when they weren't clinching. I like that because that's exactly what I would have done too. But point being, I'll formulate a plan against that bullshit because as of right now, the one thing we know for sure about all the PBC wannabes and like the Mayweather wannabes, all those motherfuckers, they don't have to be black, but a lot of them are fucking, they want to clinch. So guess what? I'm going to fucking tee off on you. I'm going to fucking hurt you, bitch. Like stop fucking, because look, there's one thing that I dislike, right?
Sunday,
I'm not a skilled fighter. I'm not a skilled fighter. I'm trying to get better. But the one thing that I dislike about a lot of those motherfuckers that talk shit like that is like, dude, I'm willing to take the hits. I'm willing to get in there and get cracked. Like, you know what I mean? Like, fuck it. Well, listen, These motherfuckers fight with like no honor. So anyway,
your point is taken. Talking about honor, though, that the salty language, though, that we can do without that on a Sunday show. But listen, your point is well taken. You want to see fighters fight more aggressively. And you mentioned Benavidez' wife's tits. I got don't ask me how, but I got a recording of you watching the fight. And when Benavidez' wife walked into the arena, this is what you said.
Beautiful set of tits. How about you let me fuck them?
Oh, wait a minute. Come on. See, now I think that was out of line, man. I think that was out of line. All right, well, listen, caller, you broke it down. Thank you for your call. Call back next time, all right, man?
Yeah, man. Good shit. Take care, guys. Sorry.
You too, man. Take it easy.
BDA, you sound so serious when you start with that. Oh, and I don't appreciate the salty lyrics on a Sunday. You can tell like the kid up first totally bought it. Like, oh, Jesus. It's so funny how you sell that.
Why wouldn't he buy it?
You think they're aftermarket or the originals?
Oh, they're bolt on.
They're bolted on, did you say?
Yeah, bolt on aftermarkets.
yeah, they were definitely aftermarket. Definitely. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's like a guy once told me, like, oh, I don't like fake tits. I go, why? It's just because they're not real. And I go, well, so is a car seat. It's not real, but you still use it and enjoy it. So I mean, listen.
Depends. If it's under muscle, they're not bad. But if just under the fucking breast, they suck. You get them on your hands and knees, you reach around and grab some fucking titty, and all you feel is the edge of that bag. Ugh. It's so weird.
That can be a weird thing there that gets you off balance.
Yeah. Or when they're on their back and you get the hands back and you see the edges. It's just, you see the edges of the bag, dude. It freaks me out. It's like, I don't want to be looking at that shit right now.
There you go, man. All right. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 856. 856, you're on the air. 856, what's on your mind?
What's up, PDA? It's Jersey Jack calling up to own up to my loss.
Oh, Jersey Jack. Well, wait a minute, Jersey Jack. What do you mean a loss?
He picked Plant.
Well, remember it was a few shows ago. We was taking our takes and whatever, and I was the one that kind of gave the breakdown for Caleb's Plant, his tools to win the fight.
Oh, wait a minute. You said Jay from Jersey. Yeah, but you said Plant. Hey, but before you go, I gotta give you credit because you the first 6 rounds it looked like it might come to fruition.
Yeah. Let me tell you, BDA. Like there was good in the comment on the other gentleman's point about like Bezo Caleb has his own action figure, but you can't be built like an action figure. You need oxygen for those muscles. I would like to give some credit that he did a lot of things wrong, but there were some things that he did right. I did later on, like I said, and then pretty much when he got his rhythm, he's still not ready for Canelo. I feel as though these guys are chasing Canelo for a payday. I don't believe that he feels he's ready. And yeah, like I said, he doesn't have the nuance. And Caleb Plant, like I said, he didn't fall. I'm not mad at Benavidez for not putting him away. That was a high level fight. There's a high level. What's high level considered today? So with the other young man that was saying things in the previous call, you're not going to get those back in the day middle fights. You're not going to get James Toney and and Hagler and all those guys back. We got a lot of cream puffs. And I do want to say one more thing. You guys got to stop hating on guys that like sneakers, man. Like, I'm from Jersey, all the Philly, New York, Jersey cats. Like, we keep our sneakers fresh and fast.
Listen, Colin, don't take everything.
Mayweather has...
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm saying Mayweather has a whole house full of sneakers, and nobody said. Literally. I know, like what that gentleman has said. Like, you should be investing your money to other, invest your money into businesses. And I'm not sure. I'm sure Caleb does have some investments. I hope he does, because you can't fight forever. But you guys, like, sneaker game is essential. You guys, like, Like, it is essential. But that's all I got to say. You guys have a wonderful show. And a good rest of the day. And God bless.
You too, man. Take it easy, Aldo. Thank you for your call. Man.
And listen, if I had endless wealth, why not? But he has a finite amount of money. Like, he's never going to make more probably than $1 million if he even fights again. I don't see why he would even want. He's not going to be champion at that weight division. What does he just want to be a gatekeeper? I don't know. He got $10 million, so you figure after taxes and everybody's fucking wackadoodle, and it's probably set up where he's not even got it all. He gets, like, I don't know if he's on the deferment plan that Heyman has a lot of his fighters on, but so he got around $5 million. If you look what he spent on a house, what he's paying on all taxes on that, the car he's got, he's got much left. So I'm saying it's like, yeah, finite amount of money, man. You want to invest that properly, and that's why all these guys end up filing bankruptcy. Some of those sneakers he talked about were like $3,000, $4,000 sneakers. Like, what are you, a jackass, dude? You don't get that kind of money, dude.
Yeah, that's something a woman would do. He should be better served taking some of the money and putting it in a tit job for his wife.
Let me see those tits.
Why not?
Put it right between your tits. Put it right between
Jordan?
your tits. Put it right between your tits.
PBC girl?
Let's go. Put it right between your tits. Let's go.
Listen, I don't know who's playing those sounds, but
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know who's playing that. All right, let's go to another phone call here, and don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Let's go to 351. 351, you're on the air. 351, what's on your mind?
What's up, BDA? Mike Poe. How's it going?
Oh, Michael, what's up, man?
Can you hear me?
Mike.
Yes, I can.
Hey, fellas. Jimmy, what's up, everybody?
What's up, brother?
I saw the Benavidez fight. They were pumping this guy up, man, but turns out he's really nothing that special. And I think Canelo would take him. What did you guys think of the fight?
Well, listen, we didn't like the clinching. That's the first thing. That old clinching, it could have... what do you think? Do you think that without the clinching, Benavidez takes him out?
I don't even know. I thought he was something else, the way they were propping him, and that's a really naive thing, but doesn't seem like he's as good as they were selling him. Maybe he is. But, yeah, I think Canelo would take him. And, yeah, I wasn't impressed. I want to see these fights happen, the lightweight, all the Haney, all these. Usyk, which is another travesty that's not happening at the end of the month of April. But
that would have been a boring fight.
Other than that,
Fury Usyk, it would have been a boring fight. We're not listening much.
Oh, yeah. We need this consecutively because fans can only watch. I'm 45. I don't want to watch business deals. You want to watch fights.
Why not?
You don't want to watch this stuff all day long. I mean, you're the only one of the channels that entertain me is you, because BDA doesn't talk about the politics. The internet drives people crazy. I can't even stand certain shows, man.
Now wait a minute. Listen, there's something out there for everybody.
I have my paint in. Huh?
There's something out there.
Boxing's a nice place. It's a safe space for me.
It's a safe space.
Even
for
though
you.
I have issues, but so what?
Hey, who doesn't have issues, Michael? That's what I like to ask. I ask people who doesn't have an issue.
Exactly.
And if they don't have an issue,
I have plenty.
When I ask people, do you have an issue, and they go no, I make an issue for them. How about that? What's that?
It's all right. You can have it. But that's it, man. I saw that Matrix was on there today. I really was worried, and I'm a good person that way. I wanted to make sure he was all right, man. And I see him right there. LOL.
Yeah,
so,
he's the real. That's the real recognize. Well, that's the real recognize. And
I know. I thought somebody stole it. I really did. I thought somebody took that and was trying to be him, but
Now he's got the wrench. If somebody has a wrench in the chat, that means they're certified.
Oh, cool. What do you guys think is going to happen between these fights that are supposed to happen? You think
they're not going to happen?
That's what's going to happen. Nothing. Yeah, not just the Haney. I think he'll take it because of the size, maybe age, maybe he thinks he's got a shot. The Garcia thing, I'm not sure. Usyk, that's crazy, man. I don't know. He got mandatories, and I don't think Fury's physically afraid. I think his money, his value will diminish if he loses, and of course he can lose, and he could also beat him too. That's what makes it interesting.
We're gonna get into that a little bit.
But
we're gonna get into the Fury.
We definitely gotta cover that.
I gotta ask. Yeah, I gotta get some things clear about that. But anyway, listen, Michael, man, we gotta move on to a phone call here, man. But thank you for your call.
Move on, brother. I just like always check in. I like watching the show. Move on, brother. I understand. Thank you so much for taking the call, man.
Thank you.
Salute to everybody. Okay.
All right, man. Right back
at you.
Take
care, everybody. Bye, guys. Take care, Bucho, Jimmy, everybody. Take care.
Same to you, man.
Bye now. Thank you.
All right. That was Michael Poe, and yes, indeed, recognize is safe. He has been. When you see somebody with a wrench, that means they're validated. So that is the real recognize. Shout out to everybody. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Let's go to a phone call. Let's go to 832. 832, you're on the air. 832, what's on your mind?
What's up, BDA? Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed. What's on your mind, sir?
That fight was ass.
Oh, wait a minute.
It was a snooze fest. All the fucking clinching. I get the Killer Plant thinks he's black, but he's not Devin Haney. Second of all, this just proved that Benavidez, you talk all of this about give me Canelo, feed me Canelo. Yeah, he couldn't even knock out Plants. This showed, I predicted Plant to win by unanimous decision because, like I said, I think his footwork, his battle ready, and he had a lot of ring rust coming in. And I was right for the first half of the fight. Killer Plant, was moving around well. And Benavidez was looking for that just one shot only. But I'm pretty sure this showed everyone that Benavidez is not on the same level as Canelo. And as far as Canelo versus Zaval goes, I believe Canelo needs someone to bring into his camp because the 80 Reynoso high guard trap thing is not going to work against someone educated like Zaval. But I think he can beat him. There's a chance. Definitely a chance. But it's just going to be up to his cardio and timing the ball in between his step in and step out.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right, caller. That Canelo versus Bivol, I mean, it's ego that's pushing him to get that rematch. But a lot of fans, I get the sense, would rather see Benavidez versus Canelo and let Bivol Beterbiev do their thing. Although, again, that fight probably won't happen either. But
feed Canelo, feed him. Give him that little Mexican guy, little Mexican monster. Julio Benavidez, so give it to him. I mean, he's gonna knock him out.
Whoa, you're saying Canelo knocks
I don't think the fight
Benavidez out? Wow, all right.
Yeah, I know for a fact that Canelo would knock his ass out.
You know, okay, you don't know that for a fact. Come on, a fact? What are you doing, caller? What do you think? It's a Sunday.
Okay,
it's a Sunday. You don't sin and stuff. Yeah.
Let's not get it twisted, man. David Benavidez, he put a beating on Caleb Plant. He probably put a worse beating than Canelo put on Plant. Honestly, man.
Yes and no. I mean, like, I do agree he did beat him more, but at the same time, you know, he talked all this. He talked Canelo's scared, Canelo, all this, all that. He ended up going the distance, winning by only a few rounds.
I mean, listen,
you're chasing the man. And that's the kind of bullshit you pulled.
The caller makes a bit of a good point. I mean, that the cut, first of all, he was cut from a headbutt, so it's not like Benavidez cut him. And like you said earlier, Caleb Plant's got dick skin, so you touch him up a little bit, he's going to be marked up. So it's not like he really, I mean, yeah, he was clinching a lot. And like I reiterated, without the clinching, who knows what would have happened. But ultimately, we can only go by what happened, which was David Benavidez' decision, not stoppage. You look at Canelo's record, he stopped Caleb Plant. So I see where people are going. Caller, we got to move on here, but anything else you want to say before we move on?
Fuck Benavidez, that's all.
Oh, wait a minute. That's on a Sunday. All right. Thank you for your call, caller. Take it easy out there.
Thanks.
The language on these callers, man, on a Sunday. And I said it before, I've said it a million times, and they love to incense me with this salty language. All right. But Gonzalo, what do you think about it? I think, Gonzalo, you make a good point about, look, he did, even, okay, I was bringing up those counter arguments just to play devil's advocate, but ultimately I agree with you, Gonzalo. It's he had him holding on for dear life. It's not because he was tickling him, it's because he was fucking kicking the shit out of him.
And at the same time, if you're Canelo, okay, you can see it either way. Like, okay, as far as the fans, the fight might lost a little steam, and now they're going to say, man, no, Canelo fucking, he beats up David Benavidez easily. Mm-hmm. Right? The fight is not as big, but if you're Canelo and you're looking at Benavidez, hey, man, you're seeing something there. Right?
The thing is, too, I think what got people to play devil's advocate and to like take the caller side on this, what happens when you talk as much as Benavidez did, and he talked a lot. Remember, he was even getting under your skin, Gonzalo. Like, if you're just saying shit, just like, I'm going to destroy you, I'm going to fucking crush you, and Canelo's ducking me, scared of me. And then you go out there, and you can't even stop the dude. I don't care. You didn't stop him. He was grabbing at you. That's you know what? You can sidestep him and catch him with a shot coming in, or just land better punches. You know what I mean? When he was not clinching. But that's, you know, he didn't, where Canelo did. So he didn't do himself any favors by not stopping Plant after talking all that caca. That's all I'm saying, you know? And I agree, dude. He's tough, and I'd like to see the fight. I'm 100% on your side there. But I understand why people are a little upset with Benavidez, because you talked like you were the Mexican monster, and Canelo's just a little guy you'd fucking bitch slap. And then you go out there and you fucking can't stop a dude, he fucking stops. Just not, I agree, not a good. It's not optically. It's not a good look. That's all.
I agree, Jimmy. That's well said. I wanted to touch on a couple of things here from the undercard. Number one, we talked about Rayo versus Colbert. The fact that Jim Gray, unfiltered as always, actually told Rayo, that was a horrible decision. So Jim Gray, he holds no punches in there. He doesn't, and that you could tell. Watson, what's his name? Sam Watson was in the background when he said that. And he just looked down. It's like, holy shit, he actually said that. I don't know. I think Jim Gray is immune to the Heyman virus. I don't think he cares either way. This guy's been in the business for about 40 years, so I don't think there's much you can do to him. Also, Cody Crowley beating the other Ramos, Abel Ramos, by decision. That was one. Who was it? Cheatham. I think it was Cheatham. Had that fight a draw. Now look, Ramos fought well. He made it competitive, but he was always one step behind. Meanwhile, this fucking who was the ref? Yeah, it was Tim Cheatham. Had it a draw. This is the same guy that had Jermel Charlo versus Castaño won a draw, even though Castaño clearly won that fight. So I don't know what Cheatham is doing, but or what he's thinking, but he's certainly living up to the first part of his name with the cheating thing. And also, I want to say something else, man. Fucking Crowley, his father committed suicide. He said he wanted to commit suicide. Imagine if they would have robbed the guy. He probably would have gone through with the fucking deal. If they would have robbed him, they were the last nail in the coffin. So, yeah, sometimes, robberies can be dangerous, man, to these guys' psyches. That's all I'm going to say about that.
It destroys careers. When you rob somebody, just think about what that first robbery did to Triple G. It destroyed his career. It took his love of the sport away. He doesn't give a fuck about it. Just everything. It changes everything. Imagine going from a world champion. It changes your pay structure, how you're read, your legacy, everything. It's such an egregious thing to steal something from somebody who's in there fucking risking their life to earn it. I just despise when it's clearly, I mean, you can have close decisions. You can say, okay, I can see where you scored it that way. But when it's obvious, when it's as obvious as the Colbert, or obvious as like you said with Castano and the Jermel Charlo first fight, or Triple G Canelo 1, when it's that obviously a robbery, it infuriates me. It makes me not want to watch the sport. It really does.
Yeah, did they take away the point for the knockdown? Did they take that back? Because I was only listening to it on the radio. I mean, on YouTube.
Yeah, I missed that part.
No, he kept the point. On the first round of Colbert? Yeah, it was a
No. Crowley, Abel Ramos. There was a knockdown like in the 9th, maybe 10th, 11th round. So there was, I wasn't sure because I was listening to it, and they said it was a knockdown, but then they took it back, and instead of scoring it 10-8, it was a 9-10. So I'm kind of wondering if they would have scored that a knockdown, who would have the card gone to?
That's a good question, man. Yeah.
Because when was the draw already, right? The first one.
Yeah, the Cheatham card was a draw, yeah. That's a good question, though. I'm going to have to rewatch that fight, see what happened. I think it was in the 11th round. Excuse me, was it a 10-rounder or was it I think it was a 10. I forget, man. But it was before the last round.
It was a 12th rounder. It was a 12th rounder because it was elimination.
Let me tell you, that Crowley is built.
That kid Crowley isn't bad.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's building himself up a nice little resume there. He's the one that upset that Eastern European guy, Mike Madaliev, or whatever his name was, Mike Madaliev.
Yeah.
Then now he's got a win over Ramos. He also beat Josito Lopez. So obviously those guys are, I mean, listen, people don't give Thurman credit for Josito, but when you got a guy like Crowley who's essentially a bruiser, and he's got those, he's been beating those guys. I think he's in line for they should put him in there against Villa, the guy that beat Ellis in his last fight. That would be an action-packed fight, but they're probably going to try to get... See, that's the other thing, though. And I was saying this before the fight, before the event. Crowley, the last time he'd fought, I think, was April 2022. Abel Ramos, the last time he'd fought, I think, was February 2022. Jesus Ramos, the last time he'd fought was, I think, May or April 2022. All these guys that were fighting on the undercard, most of them, had only fought once in 2022. So with Benavidez, with Crowley, Abel Ramos, Jesus Ramos, hope you guys enjoy watching them, because most of them are probably not going to fight until 2024 again.
Exactly. You're not going to see them for a year, because that's what it is. It's, the PBC only has so many time slots and so many fighters. And I said that about Crowley. He fought outside. I believe it was in Minneapolis, or it was one of some weird state, but it was an outside in the middle of downtown. They set up the ring when he beat that kid. And there's something about that kid. He's not going to reach the elite level, the middle welterweights. But I have a gut feeling they're going to feed him to Boots Ennis.
Yeah, you know what?
Let him get some wins and give it to him.
There's something weird about Crowley, man. I don't like the last name Crowley. Very satanic. And then he talks a lot about New Age stuff and all that. I don't know what's up, but he's got tattoos, a bunch of weird symbols. I don't know. Hey, speaking of layoffs,
well, he's kind of a weirdo spiritualist. Like, he goes and like meditates on the edge of fucking rocks over the ocean and shit. Like one of them dudes. Like
listen.
Truly wearing.
Hey, what if he's meditating with his freaking rocks, and all of a sudden he opens his eyes and there he sees Keith Thurman?
Oh, wait a minute.
Playing a banjo or something.
Check him off the cliff. Get the fuck out of here, you part-time fighter.
Now listen, I'm kidding around about the New Age stuff. I've seen some interviews where he's talking about some stuff that makes a lot of sense what he's saying in terms of the medicine and taking care of the body. Hey, speaking of layoffs, we've got Recognize jumping in. Recognize, you there?
Recognize.
What's going on, gentlemen?
What's up,
My
Recognize? Good
man.
to have you on board back on
I
the
mean, you
boxing
guys
show.
can hear me okay.
So Lou Reggie, you're eating again? Okay, I was kidding. What's up, dog?
What's up,
Yeah, what was it? I remember one time you said you were. I remember one time you said you were eating pancakes with ice cream, or was it waffles with ice cream? I go, holy shit, that's a lot of sugar, man. Surprised you don't crash after eating that much sugar, man.
That's exactly how the ice cream cone was developed. That was how it was invented. A guy was selling ice cream at the World Fair, and he ran out of plates. So the guy who was cooking waffles next to him made them thinner, and he rolled them up. That was exactly how the ice cream cone was invented. Useless knowledge, but I just put it out there.
I like waffles with scrambled eggs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
waffles. It's not easy,
man.
It's not easy being raised in Ramon, right? Recognized.
What are you talking about, man?
I even like waffles and chicken, man. Maple syrup. That shit's good too.
When my beard grows, that's how I look, like Razor Ramon. Exactly like that.
The ponytail and everything, yeah, man.
Hey, more handsome, dude. Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, of course. I'm better looking, obviously.
There you go, baby.
Did you get a chance to watch the fight, Recognize?
Yeah, man. Thanks for the link. I saw the fight, and I don't know. I've been out of the loop for a while. You know, BDA, that I've been doing a lot of stuff, so I haven't watched many of their past fights coming into to this one. But I watched enough to come to a conclusion before the fight happened that I obviously thought Benavidez was going to win, and he did win the fight. Whether he could stop Caleb Plant or beat him by, unanimous decision, something like that, is pretty much what I thought. And he beat him pretty handily. I thought the fight I thought Benavidez could have done some things a little bit better. I didn't like, for some reason, I didn't like the shape he was in. I don't know why. Kind of used to him being a little bit pudgy, come fight night. I thought that him being, even though he was like better tone, it didn't look like it worked for him. Even though he started off slow, I thought he finished fast, and I thought Plant kind of faded towards the end like he usually does. Or I want to say he did against... No, he usually fades it towards most fights towards the end, right? Plant is like a blur memory a lot of times to me. But from what I remember, he always kind of fades towards the end. And that's what happened. I thought there was a lot of clinching. I thought the fight got dirty, for sure. And I thought Plant might have been trying to save himself a little bit. And Bayless kind of helped him out there towards the end. But I still think Benavidez is a good fight for Canelo, especially at this point. Canelo is older. He's got I know he's like 32, but he's an old 32. He's had a lot of fights. What is it, like 60, 65 fights? So he's actually an older 32-year-old, where Benavidez, it's not like a super phenom, but he's good enough where that fight could be interesting if it was to happen, let's say, before the year ends. I think that fight is good for this year.
Oh, I mean, I don't know, man. There's a lot of Canelo's. He's negotiating with. I mean, he's talking about the Bivol rematch, and then the Benavidez side, they're saying that they're done with Canelo. They've got a 3-fight deal. They're gonna fight Charlo.
Okay.
They're gonna So I don't know if that's gonna happen, man. But hey, listen, it's hopefully we get what's the word I'm looking for here? Acceptable replacements for that.
If they were to fight, what I'm saying is, if they were to fight, like, Canelo would be the favorite, and deservingly so. But what I'm saying is that he would be, as of right now, stylistically looking at the fights, Canelo slowing down a little bit, Benavidez coming up close to his prime, or maybe in his prime years, where the fight's now competitive, where I can see Benavidez maybe outworking him if he could, if he learns something from this Plant fight, and that's why I think the fight would be intriguing if it was to happen. But yeah, you got politics involved when it comes to Benavidez, him being with what is it, Al Heyman, right? PBC. So yeah, and they probably can't help they can't help themselves with losing control when you're fighting Canelo. Canelo is the boss. He calls the shots.
Right. I mean, that's the way they gotta shot caller. Yeah, that's the way they gotta accept it, man. Hey, but by the way, shout out to Virtuoso for his contribution with the super chat. He says, "Feed Rayo and Colbert to Pitbull their food." Oh, you know what? That would be a good fight. Pitbull versus Colbert or Rayo Valenzuela. Why not, man? Pitbull needs a good fight, though. He's been
like $2 million in fucking pay-per-view.
There you go. Well, I don't know about that, but shout out to Ed Perez, too, for his contribution with Super Chat. He says the PBC judges had Joey Spencer ahead on the cards before Jesus Ramos stopped. Nah, is that true?
No way, man.
I think that's got to be a joke. I think somebody's just throwing some fucking joke our way.
Yeah, he didn't win 1 second of that fight. Yeah, I agree with Recognized, by the way. With Benavidez, he looked a little tight, not so loosey-goosey as I like to mention, like to say.
Yeah, that's it, Gonzalo. He wasn't that. I didn't feel like he was as loose as he.
Remind me of Vargas, remember?
Right.
Recognized, remember?
But I'm gonna give Plant some credit because he is he's kind of decent on his feet. Maybe he never allowed him, but I just felt like the way he was built, the way he was fighting, had to do with a lot the way his conditioning was, and he couldn't really do it.
It seemed like he did a lot of weightlifting. It seemed like his muscles were tight. Like they weren't the flow like Gonzalo was saying.
Jimmy, you want him to be in good shape, of course. You want it to be a little bit defined, but you also want him to be in rhythm with his new body.
With his body. Yeah. Biomedics, you can do weight resistant training, like you put plates on your back as you do push-ups, things like that. But you don't lift weights because when you lift weights, it holds you in a certain position. That's why it's better to actually cut wood and just do a lot of different things like that, but with a weighted resistance.
Exactly, you got it, gentlemen.
Remember when Fernando Vargas recognized? Remember when Fernando Vargas showed up all chiseled and he said, "Hey, Mexicans aren't supposed to look like this."
Yeah. You're right. I remember that fight, Gonzalo. He did look chiseled.
You get a balance, bro?
I got a bounce real quick. But I'm gonna try to jump on if you guys are still on later. I just want to say what's up to everybody in the chat.
Hey, listen, if you try to call me, dude, I'm not getting notifications. The phone isn't ringing on the Discord, so that's why I told you that in the DM. So, like the other night when I was expecting your call, you probably even tried to call because Bucho tried last night and it didn't come up. So I just wanted to say that.
I love you, Jimmy.
Love you too, my brother. I just want you to know. I know you're not doing terrible. You know what I mean? I want to talk to you, dude. I missed you, bro, terribly. You know that. Little love. We should have some music going in the background. A little bro fest right here.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, you're over at the BDA headquarters right now, Recognized?
I'm trying to get back there. Me and BDA settled our little, we had a little contract dispute,
Listen,
so where are you at the bodega right now? You're at the bodega taking some stuff over to the headquarters later? Oh, cool.
There you go. I think I want to head back to the headquarters now.
Listen, Recognize, you get paid.
Because you want some chick to rub your feet before every match. Before every fucking show was a little much.
Exactly. Excuse me. Recognize, you get, like I told you, in the negotiating table, you get paid what you're worth, all right? I don't dictate it. I don't dictate the trends. It is what it is, man. Don't ask me for much.
BDA, you stick to your contract agreement. Remember, email me the topic of the show, the questions you ask me, and all that stuff, okay?
Oh, man.
You just stick to your end.
It's all up to Shapiro.
Yeah, tell that to Rafa Shapiro, who really got the folk angry. Hey, by the way, all right, shout out to Recognize. Thank you for jumping on, man. Talk to you later.
Peace, brother.
You got it, brother.
Yeah, Foka really got angry. I mean, he kicked me out of the Discord. He took away my mod status, obviously, from his Discord. Obviously, I'm not there anymore. So, see, Jimmy, the things I do, man, to defend you guys. I give up cushy contracts in other Discords for you guys. But, hey, Jimmy, I wanted to ask you something. Because, okay, we talked about the undercard fights. Jesus Ramos, by the way, 154. For some reason, I thought he was 147. 154, him and Fundora. Holy smokes, that would be intriguing, to say the least. And maybe with a little more seasoning, maybe later on he could fight Tim Zhu or Jermel Charlo, you never know. But there was another fight, ESPN, Jose Ramirez versus Richard Comey ended up stopping him in the 11th round with a body shot. These guys got off to a fast start. He ended up stopping him. And Jimmy, Ramirez really needed this win, man, because he was getting fucking lambasted on Twitter for not fighting Prograis. He didn't look all that hot against Pedraza in his last fight. So, what do you think about Ramirez and his performance, and what's next for him?
Here's the thing, all right? I like Colbert a lot. I think he's a good kid. He does a lot for. So I'm kind of biased with him because I just like him. I think he's a really good dude. So it's hard for me to see him become fodder. But look he's just like so desperate to get those the money fights that okay, I'll go up and wait. Like he didn't belong up there, dude. You know what I mean? So it was. I can't really gauge how Ramirez is off that. And once again, though, it proved the body shot. If you look at the body shot that finally dropped him, like he couldn't. People think it has to be thundering, like complete connection. Only guys will understand is clearly woman one. Sometimes it's worse to have your balls flickered, like Billy getting caught like a foot. It takes like 10 seconds before it kicks in. The same thing with a fucking body shot when it just kind of just scrapes your fucking liver, like it just goes because if you see it, it just kind of went through his stomach a little bit. And it was the same thing. And also he went down, and he did, and he was down on the fucking. It was rough to see it, but like I like Colbert, but he's just been being used as fodder. Once you start losing, I'll take whatever you can get, and they start putting you in that position. But Ramirez should have got crap for ducking that fucking Prograis fight. No excuse. He just thought he was worth more money than what he was getting. I know what I'm worth. Okay, dude, now you just destroyed your legacy because people, like you said on Twitter, you can't mention that dude's name without being called a duck the way that Tyson Fury should be discussed about.
Yeah, but that's what I said, though. He needed this win because imagine he would struggle with a guy, like you said, coming off from 135. Like, that would have been the ultimate. That would have been. But now, he looked a little off in certain parts, Ramirez. Like, yeah, the intensity wasn't there in the middle rounds, obviously because he got off to a fast start. But I don't know, man. I remember back when he fought Maurice Blocker and when he fought Hooker, excuse me, Maurice Hooker, and when he fought Orozco too, and even against Postal, he just looked faster, quicker when he would jump in. And that's a guy, he needs to jump in and get on the inside. Now, though, it seems I don't know, man. There seems like there's something off. I don't know if it's age, maybe
lost
fighting
too.
at that. The what?
Just having that loss to Taylor messes. Some guys just never the same mentally. They just kind of lose that drive. Protecting that, I know it's a silly thing. We rag on it, but being an undefeated fighter, never experiencing a loss. I mean, when you finally feel it's demoralizing to a lot of guys. And Ramirez, he's one of those dudes that's taken the talent he has. In some cases, it's limited, but he's tough. He's a fucking kid. He gives you an honest effort. And I think he's taken what his God-given abilities to the limit. And at his age, number of fights, the fact you're figuring a loss, we're not going to see that old Ramirez back.
Oh, boy.
Like the fights you're talking about, you're not going to see him again in the ring. He's just not.
He's 30
just
years
not
old.
that guy anymore.
He's 30
it just
years
doesn't
old.
Matter. Yeah. I'm from an era where 30 was like, that was definitely when you were on the downside. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? So,
but never say
depends
never.
on how many fights you've had.
Never say never. Sometimes these guys that start young and then by 30 they seem like they're done. If they take a little break, there could be a windfall coming back. But Gonzalo, did you catch the fight?
Yeah, I watched the highlights.
Highlights.
What can I say? Yeah, because I was watching. I really wanted to focus on the. I really wanted to focus on the Benavidez fight because I know we're going to talk about that one.
Right.
It's higher profile. They were at the same time.
Well, unfortunately, I don't. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't care about your opinion then. If you only saw the highlights. I'm kidding. Go ahead, Gonzalo.
It's a handshake opponent. I mean, Comey, 135-pounder, and I think I heard Timothy Bradley criticize. No, it was just his opinion that he used the word stanky leg, and he is right. He lost his footing a little bit. I'm thinking maybe from that comment and what I saw, he did stumble a little bit. He looks a little glassy-eyed. He might what's the word? He might be, his chin might not be that good anymore. Right. He might be a shot fighter. I'm thinking if he faces a guy his size, a 240-pounder, he possibly gets knocked out, man. In my opinion. He did good, but it was against a smaller guy.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. And even at 130, even at 140, you can see he can still crack a little bit, Comey. But we're talking about Ramirez being done. Let's talk about Richard Comey. He's 36. And if I'm looking at his record here, ever since he was a lightweight, some of the guys he was fighting. Check this out. He fought Robert Easter Jr. That was a war. Shafikov, he lost those two fights back to back. Those were 2 wars, okay? Then you fast forward to him at lightweight and junior welterweight. He beats up Raimundo Beltran, gets knocked out by Lopez, takes out Jackson Marinas, takes on Lomachenko, gets beat up in that fight for 12 rounds. Now he loses to Pedraza. I mean, those are hard fights. It's not like he's been fighting a bunch of bums. Similarly with Ramirez, look at his record since 2018. Amir Imam, former prospect, some people really thought he was going to be the next best thing. Antonio Orozco, big power puncher. I think he was undefeated at that time. Jose Cepeda, very hard fight against a slippery opponent. Maurice Hooker, Victor Postal, Josh Taylor, Jose Pedraza. I mean, those fights, those are hard training camps, and those are fights where you got to be on point if you want to beat these guys, or at least avoid getting beat up. So, yeah, I think I agree with you two guys, man. It's Ramirez, it seems to be taking a toll on him.
Yep. No, exactly. I just don't think you're going to see at his age the money he's made now. Again, that has a lot to do with it, man. The finances makes you softer. Just having that money makes you softer. Takes some of the edge, the grind. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't think. And then I mean, obviously, listen. He knew the reason when you tell me that you're holding out for money, that was the reason you didn't make the fight, was because the money wasn't right. So that means to tell me you didn't think that you could beat him, because if you took that loss, it's over for you. If you took another loss, so I think that's why it was like, either pay me a lot, because I know what's probably going to happen if I fight him. Because I personally think right now, Prograis would work his ass.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people would probably pick. Speaking of, some people in the chat are saying that they're glad they didn't pay for the Benavidez fight. How much do you think that, I'm still irked about this, Lomachenko-Haney, how much do you think that's going to be pay-per-view?
$74.95, brother.
That's too much, man. That's
the
not
ace hole. What do you think last night's fight was? $74 plus tax. I paid $80 for that.
All right, now break it down. Why is this fight pay-per-view? Is it Haney asking for too much money?
Well, yeah, it was a combination of the money they were asking for, and actually because ESPN is in real bad shape. I don't know if you guys saw what happened this week. They announced huge layoffs from executives down to on-air personnel. Even Stephen A. Smith said that he's not even 100% comfortable. His job is there, and he's their biggest, heaviest paid dude. So, yeah, no, big things. They're putting up his story. They've been lying about it too, I guess, about certain things, supposedly. But yeah, no, ESPN is circling the drain. They went woke. Somebody put a fucking video together on it where they just, every time they said, you're white, I'm black, or I'm black, and, anytime they reference race for 1 year, the video goes on for almost 3 minutes at speed. Wow. Race, I'm black, you're right. And so they've become, even this past week, the fucking some nobody Boston radio dude said nip about, because they were talking about nips, and he said, they mentioned the girl from the ESPN who's Asian, but she's not Japanese, and went on. She was fucking, it was trending on Twitter. ESPN talked about it. They went on there and talked about, victimhood and, racial bias. It was just because that's all they got. These women are fucking Instagram bimbos who know nothing about sports. And when ESPN used to have big dumpy guys who live sports, that's all they talked about. Now they get these fucking Instagram bimbos on there for diversity. And it's pathetic. It's the CNN of sports world. So that's the reason why they're literally circling the drain. So there's no money to put that fight on. So it's going on pay-per-view.
Interesting, man. So now we've got the PBC in trouble, ESPN, which is a behemoth, in trouble as well. The Zone, everybody points out the fact that the Zone, they lost billions, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but they purchased all these all their sports franchises. So might be the Zone might end up positioning itself. I mean, you never know. It's going to be interesting to see
they're the best off, without a doubt.
It's interesting. Going to be seeing what Top Rank does with ESPN, because if they see that it's a sinking ship, maybe they say, you know what? The Zone.
Well,
maybe that's where it's at.
Can I tell you what they're not going to say? I heard through the grapevine, because I got a couple of people following me. I don't want to say now. I don't want to say more than that because I get some in trouble. But obviously, publicly they can't say, but they're really not happy with ESPN. about how they felt they haven't advertised enough because they're supposed to be in partners together with this, and they feel like they've always put boxing second class. They'll let MMA fights run into it or whatever is on before run into it. They don't even give a second thought about how late it's going to be shown. And advertising, it's like pulling teeth to get them to do any advertising for boxing. Never mind, nobody talks about it. None of their fucking on-air personalities talk about it. But Max Kellerman, who says white people should feel guilty. He also he'll give it 10 minutes here and there. So So Bob is not happy because he spent a lot of money. He expected more from that fucking disaster of a network.
Well, there you go, man.
On the bright side, if Lomachenko is going to give it his all, realizing that he's on the biggest stage and he's going to make a good payday, and this is possibly one of his last fights, and he's going out there to win. He prepares well, understanding that it is pay-per-view, and he's going to get a chance to become undisputed. Everything that he's been wanted all along, to be 3-division world champion and undisputed. So it's okay, this is the time to do it. I want him to show up at his best. That's what I'm saying.
Well, it just goes to show you how racist the sport is. Like you hear all the time, it's such a racist sport that the white guy has to fight in a weight class he doesn't even belong in just to get an opportunity to become fucking, because he destroyed everybody at 130. But of course, he was an overhyped job because ESPN was overhyping him. Remember, that was always the narrative. Just funny, like you said, Mr. B, they always say, that he signed his contract back in December of last year for this Haney fight? He never argues with Bob about anything. Bob says the kid's the easiest to work with. It's never going back and forth, because in these contracts, you guys got to understand, they debate everything. Tickets, travel. When you're breaking that down in the contract, no, you're not going to have that many fucking people fly to the fight. That's not coming off the top. Everything gets fucking argued about in these contracts. And Lomachenko's whatever, tell me who I'm fighting, what's the money, whatever.
You know what, Jimmy? I get the feeling Lomachenko is not spending most of his money on a shoe collection. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's why maybe he doesn't haggle over money. Listen, we got a phone call here coming in. One of the last of the day, because we're about to end the show here. Let's go to 214.
We're not going to cover the furry thing again, huh?
Nah. I'm tired of that. 214, you're on the air. Oh, if you want to, we'll make some time. But 214, you're on the air. 214, what's on your mind?
It's good to see. It was interesting that Benavidez didn't get the stoppage, but I thought he did. I think he did pretty good. I think he's gonna get better from here. But you guys can't. For all the guys that were picking Plant, you guys can't try to judge and say that he didn't stop Caleb Plant. You guys were picking Plant to win. So you just can't switch around. You can't move the goalposts. That's all I'm saying. And, man, I think there's room for improvement for David. There's definitely room for improvement. I did like how he used his jab later on in the fight, though. Now,
Carl, are you saying people on Twitter? No, Carl, is that who picked Plant? Are you saying friends or people on Twitter or YouTube?
Oh, a lot of people on Twitter were picking Plant. Mexicans, all types of people. A lot of Mexicans were picking Plant. Now you're trying to go back and say, Benavidez didn't stop. You picked Plant. He didn't win. Give the man his credit.
We had, I'm looking at the list here. I'm looking at the list of predictions we took here. Out of about, how many is that? 20, we had 4 people picking Plant. So just to give people a context.
But other channels.
I know. I'm just giving context. I'm just giving context. Right. I'm just giving context. Yeah. You say you want to see Benavidez make some adjustments. ESPN, yes, go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead. You want to talk about ESPN?
For ESPN, I completely agree with Jimmy. I've been following boxing since late 2019, and ESPN has done a horrible job promoting boxing. And it's a wonder how they still get so many views on certain fights. If they just put a little bit more effort, get some of these guys to talk about boxing. But it's why can't I get any of these guys to talk about boxing? They don't even try, and they don't try to get it on good time. Because I remember, I would stay up at late before going to work trying to watch some of these fights. I stayed up late to watch Teofimo versus Lomachenko. I'm like, can't they get this a little bit more earlier? I'm like, they didn't even try. And then sometimes when I try to turn on boxing, they still have the baseball games on and stuff like that.
Ooh.
So, yeah, they really didn't do a good job, even though they have a big network and they could do a lot.
You know what, man? I got to say that's a great point about that boxing gets very little respect. And I got to blame boxing a little bit too, man, the boxing establishment for that. I mean, when you've got homosexual referees like Kenny Bayless just, getting a hard on watching these guys clinch and doing nothing about it, and that's what the establishment allows, I'm unsurprised by when network executives, a bunch of New York, shysters look at that and go, you know what? This is a shit sport. Let's put it on as late as possible, especially if baseball runs late. But I agree with you. Fundamentally, I agree with you. It's as a boxing fan, I'm tired of these fights starting at 1 a.m. I'm tired of the matchmakers not knowing what they're doing. These network executives, they don't know boxing, and they don't care about it.
The Rodney Dangerfield of sports, brother.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. They get no respect. Caller, anything else, man?
Yeah, I think Ramos is going to be that guy. I think I want to see him eventually. If let's say if Jermell Charlo beats Tim Tszyu, I would love to see a Ramos versus Tim Tszyu fight. That'd be a great fight. Him and Fundora too.
Did you enjoy the fight last night from the Ramos performance? Or because some people were saying that he was too big, that he was a weight bully. What did you think about that?
No, I don't know about that. They're too big, but I saw him against Vladimir Hernandez, and I liked what I saw. He had good patience, good counters. He exited out well. He just good defense, good move, upper body movement. Just very good. I think he's definitely going to be a player wherever he's at. If they say he's too big, maybe he could add some more life to 60. I don't know how long he's going to be at 154. So if he goes to 60, he'll definitely make things more interesting. But I would like to see him fight Tim Tszyu before he goes to 60. Yeah, good power.
Hey, you see how when he hits the mitts, when he hits the mitts, it really resonates. Pa pa pa.
Yeah,
he's heavy-handed. Yeah, he's heavy-handed, and he reminded me a little bit of Margarito last night. He's must-see TV, that's for sure, man. All right, well, listen, caller, man. Good call. Yeah. Good call, man. Call back next time, right, man?
All right, I will.
Take it easy out there. All right, man. Yeah, man. A lot of good calls today. A lot of good calls. I'm sort of losing it here, fellas. I'm sort of losing it. I need some nourishment. I need some food. So I guess we're gonna call it short, Jimmy. That let's try to maybe we can do a short video. I'm talking.
No, it was just it would literally take 10 seconds. We don't even have to do anything about it. I just want to get people stop with the bullshit. It was Usyk. No, he capitulated to everything. And the fact that Top Rank, who represents Fury, their guys on the panel last night, Andre Ward and Tim Bradley. Tim Bradley said it was a straight duck. First you cut the kid's pay, and then you said, and Usyk was on the square saying, I got 3 belts, you have 4. It should be 50-50. And he said, nope, I'm not doing unless it's 60-40. So fucking what does Usyk do? All right then, 60-40, let's do it. Then Fury says, no, 70-30. And like Tim Bradley said, never thinking Usyk was going to take that after demanding 50-50, said, fuck you, motherfucker, we'll do it. But in the rematch, though, clause, if you lose, if we have a rematch, because I'm taking the 70-30, I want the 70-30 for the next fight. And that's when Fury said, nah, I'm not doing that. It has to be 50-50. So that's like rubbing such salt, like that's telling you, fuck you. And on top of that, they were telling him no money for travel. They weren't giving him any allotted tickets. They weren't fucking, like everything. Referee, the ring. They wouldn't even negotiate any of that. It was Klimas. Egis Klimas is the only person on record who came out and said on the record exactly what happened. And without a doubt, he kept moving the goalpost in the direction of not making the fight because he didn't want to make it. And the fact, while Usyk was in camp training, fucking Sugar Hill came right out and said, no, I haven't even seen Tyson. He's not training. So if he wasn't training for a fight that was supposed to take place in April, he had no intentions on making that fight. Period. I don't care if you think he could beat Tyson. I mean, he could, what Usyk would do. That's not the point. Fury didn't want that fight. End of story. And that's just all I got to say.
Well, all I got to tell you, Jimmy broke it down there. And I'm curious to see if people are gonna, because I know for months people were saying, well, it's Fury's fault, now it's Usyk's. Now it seems like the boxing world is in agreement and have arrived to a consensus about what occurred. So I'm curious to see what's gonna occur from here on in. Fellas, we gotta go. But shout out to Jimmy, shout out to Gonzalo, shout out to Bucho, who was here earlier as well. Shout out to Recognize, who dropped by. Shout out to everybody that donated the super chat, everybody that called in. You guys know who you are. Shout out to you fellas, really appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the fights, hope you enjoy the show. And I want to give a big shout out to everybody. Oh, don't forget, hit the like on the way out here, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Also, don't forget to check us out on Rumble. Now I'm not talking about BDA Boxing, I'm talking about Second Renaissance. We're on Rumble now. We're having fun. We got freedom over there. We can question the vax. We can question the elections, the 2020 elections, something you can't even say here. You can't even consider that there might have been some shenanigans in there, some hijinks of the highest order. No. They give you strikes, copyright strike. I mean, what do they call it?
Strike.
Community guidelines.
Right. They give you a strike.
Community guideline strikes. Yeah,
Community
so
strikes.
They're trying to bully people. It's a big no-no. I don't like it. And so when it comes to Second Renaissance, there it is. I put the link there in the description. And, in the chat, the Second Renaissance. I might, you never know, if I get some caffeine inside of me after I eat, I might go late on the Second Renaissance. I got something to say about UFOs. It's getting weird. Project Bluebeam is starting to take shape in the consciousness of people via the mainstream media. Maybe I'll have more to say about that. But anyway, shout out to everybody out there. A shout out to, I'm talking about Parokua, Alan R, Rainfall, is that Rafael 2023? Oh yeah, that's Rafael 2023. DJ Big Leg, Hawker Mustang, Parokua, Dennis F from Boston. Who else do we have
Dennis.
Here? I mean, just people spreading the BD gospel. I am your leader in the house. Team Batman Boxing, Shadow Combat, Alan R, Grand G. You guys know who you are. Shout out to you fellas. Thank you for joining us. Catch you in the next one.
And hit the like on the way out.
Yes, hit the like on the way out. Absolutely.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time. I'm disappointed in everyone of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in everyone of you. Disappointed in everyone of you. All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in everyone of you. Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.